All right, here we go on a Thursday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Full show today. I can promise you that.
4 hours, no rain delays.
All promise you that. Yeah, that was unfortunate yesterday. We will talk some Royals baseball on the field stuff here in about 10 minutes or so. A disappointing loss, to say the least, with the bullpen once again struggling. So that's coming up in just a little bit. Also later on this hour, Amy Dash, our Odyssey legal insider, is going to join us at 10:30. Get her legal expertise on the situation down in Dallas with Rashee Rice and potential legal consequences and how she sees this thing playing out. Of course, the 6-car wreck involving 2 vehicles now that we know were under the name Rashee Rice. And so we'll get her perspective on that. And then a little bit later on today, we've got our guy Nate Taylor from The Athletic coming in studio in the noon hour. A lot to get into with him. Obviously, the stadium stuff, but we'll talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire re-signing. We hadn't had a chance to do that, even though that's been a couple days. And we'll talk about Rashee Rice. And then Vern, our guy Vern, will talk some Royals baseball in the noon hour as well. So busy show. You guys are always welcome to interact with us on the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7610. And, of course, you can watch the show on Twitch, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever the hell we're calling it, as well.
I have not switched to X.
I keep saying
Matter
Twitter.
of fact, I don't know that I ever will. I told you, this is a sandstone argument for me. I'm sure that Azura would like me to say their name every time.
That's where Kelsey Jam's at. I saw all that details.
Kelsey Jam is it Azura.
Lil Wayne, you going out there? I know you're a big Lil Wayne fan, you know?
I don't think I've ever seen Lil Wayne in concert. So maybe.
I saw the pre-sale started today. I got a text or something about that. I'm not buying tickets today, but
when is it's in May?
I don't remember.
Kelsey
I
Jam?
think you're right. Yeah.
I gotta look back up the
There's
dates.
some pre-sale text I got today at 10 a.m. right now, I guess.
Oh.
The Cash App pre-sale for those that use Cash App. And then there's another pre-sale tomorrow. Look, it sold out last
Taylor
year.
Gonna be there?
It'll sell out just for that, right? The possibility. I don't know.
It'd be nice for her to support
someone
him.
Can look up I'll let you handle that. You can look up the concert schedule for her and cross-check it
She's
with
off
the Kelsey
this
Jam
time
and see if that fits. So anyway, I wanted to start once again though because we only had an hour yesterday. Unfortunately,
Didn't get to properly digest it.
Yeah, well, I was annoyed by one thing I saw yesterday because it's going to keep happening, and this was the unfortunate result of it not passing. Question one is that even if and I think you do as well, we both have said we both think the Chiefs and Royals are staying in the KC region. I truly am not worried with the next vote that would be to leave. I think we're much further away from that. But I'm annoyed because I saw our first story from another market about their mayor talking about our teams. That's why I'm annoyed. And, of course, I'm referencing the Dallas mayor, Eric Johnson, who had a tweet, and then there's a news article from WFAA, one of the affiliates down there, ABC affiliate, that with the stadium vote failing, he says North Texas can support a second NFL team, and he says, quote, especially a franchise and owner with deep roots here. Look, again, the Chiefs I'm not worried about them going to Dallas for a variety of reasons. Most notably, one, because I think they're going to stay here. The second part is I don't think Jerry Jones has let another team go to Dallas. So
correct. He's like the league's most influential owner.
So I am not sitting here telling you, oh my gosh, I'm truly concerned they're going to Dallas. I'm annoyed though because this is the
door's open.
Yeah, this is the kind of crap we're going to keep seeing now until there is a solid plan in place to ensure these teams, and in particular, this team we're talking about would be the Chiefs. Staying in Kansas City. So he won't be the first mayor, or the last mayor that actually mentions comments like this, flirting with other teams, and even if it's just to, stir the pot.
It's what mayors love to do. Get attention for their city because you're in, name whichever city's close to here that you feel like is at least mid-size. The Austin mayor will be like, you know what? Another team in Texas would sure be nice, and Austin is growing. Yeah. Whoever, mayors love making a big show of this, try to convince their teams. And look, mayors in this city have done that over NBA and NHL teams. Hell, they even let they let the Penguins take them for a ride a little bit just to try to convince another team to pay for the municipality down the road. So, yeah, those type of things are going to happen. But I was thinking more about it. And again, I would never say 0% because teams have moved. Hell, for instance, today, it just got announced that the A's are going to play the next 3 or 4 years, depending, in Sacramento because Oakland, the second they told them they're leaving, were like, well, you're not still playing here. Kick rocks. So they're going to Sacramento for a few years while they still try to work out the rest of their digs in Vegas. So I'm not saying never, okay? I'm not a 0.000, but I still think a huge part of the reason why I don't fear them leaving the metro, again, not the Kansas or Missouri side or different county stuff. The metro is, it's actually cost prohibitive based on the number of dollars they're asking for. It costs $500 million to relocate a franchise to a new market. That's the same amount of money they're asking for. Why the hell would you spend that money to leave rather than just put it in yourself, unless just pure spite? You're just like, nope, just pure unadulterated spite. And I get it. You in another market could hypothetically get more dollars than the amount you're asking for in Jackson County, but it still doesn't feel like moving, changing fan bases, growing new fan bases. That's the thing the Chargers miscalculated in this. They got more money to be in LA, but they miscalculated is the cost of growing a new fan base is cost prohibitive.
In their situation, they're second fiddle in their own building because the Chargers are sharing it with the Rams, and it's really almost more the Rams building because of Kroenke. And LA market is so different. There's so many entertainment options. I mean, we talk about this all the time, like the Lakers and the Dodgers. There's a reason why the Dodgers keep going out and spending a ton of money because you're competing. I mean, the Clippers are finally getting their own arena out there.
How long did that take?
They've been sharing the arena with not just the Lakers.
A very long time.
By the way,
it's the
Staples. I don't care what anyone else calls it.
Agreed.
That's Staples. This is the same conversation we just had.
I think it's crypto.com.
What?
And I think
I thought that one went belly up.
It did, but I think the name is still there. Something like that.
Yeah, it's still the same name.
Cool.
But anyway, they long story short, they shared the building with multiple.
SamBankmanFree.com. They're just going to keep naming the arena that forever. It's going to jail for 25 years.
Yeah. Is that official? Do we know that?
I don't know.
That's just your prediction?
I think he got sentenced to 25 years.
Well, good if that's the case. But anyway, that's a completely different conversation.
Now I'm going to have to look it up.
I'll let you look that up. Point being, the reason why we bring all these things up is I was annoyed to see the story come out of Dallas, but that's not going to be the last time we see a mayor of another city talking about our teams. And that's what happens when you have a chance to secure 100% the future of teams in your county or your region. And I still think the region is fairly secure for both the Chiefs and Royals. But yeah, as you said, the door was cracked open a little bit the other night because of that. What you were referencing is just the relocation costs and fees.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And it goes up just as like anything else. It goes up over time. So you mentioned the Rams fee and on top of the Chargers and what that was. I think it was over $700-800 million. And so, and for baseball, I think a baseball team relocation fee, some estimates are over $500 million.
Yeah, you got to think about what size market, because that's the other thing. You couldn't just, like, if you're the Royals, right, and you're like, they're going in that, you can't go to a similar size market and justify the expense unless Nashville is here telling you, we'll build you a brand new stadium at a cost of $0 to you. And by the way, their mayor has been anti-Titans Stadium.
Yeah, they just got a new mayor in Nashville, I believe.
Yeah, and he's anti the Titans building. So, like, who knows? Look, things are a little bit different. But, I was trying to, like, give it a day, give it a couple of days, think about what their next steps are. I would hope that they try to, for their own sake, recalibrate somewhat quickly so that they can do their build-up slower and get a little more support as time goes on here versus what, in retrospect, ended up being a very rushed ending to their project. It seemed like they were taking forever to doing it. But by the time they finally decided on the details they actually liked about the project, seems like they did that in like 72 hours. Hell, there were people sending out social media posts today that they had received a letter from Clark Hunt saying, please vote yes today. It's 48 hours since they could vote on the damn thing. And they're getting letters today saying, sure hope you vote yes on the stadium for us. That just points to more of this rushed nature. I mean, I guess we could blame it on the slow post service, but you shouldn't have been banking on that. You should have had that damn thing out.
Yeah, I guess some people got it in time, some people didn't. Who knows either way? You got to ensure that people are. I mean, why is the letter coming out that quickly anyway? To election day, isn't that something that should have been out there earlier?
Yeah.
Look, they paid, I'm sure, millions and millions of dollars towards whatever firm it was. I think out of DC to help run the campaign, and obviously that was just not successful whatsoever. It goes without saying, and we'll see where they pivot. I think it's clear. I was listening to actually our sister station yesterday driving home later in the afternoon.
Man, not even listening to our guy Carrington, huh?
Well, Carrington wasn't on yesterday. It was rain delay coverage. See, I'm okay.
Delay.
See, I'm good. Dana and Parks, of course, over at KMBZ, and we might have one of them on our show tomorrow for Club 610. But they had the mayor on Quentin Lucas, who I think will actually join Carrington this afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. But he was on yesterday with Dana and Scott, and they were talking, of course, about the stadium proposal, and he said talking about maybe the best path is for them to go separate ways based off of their two very different projects. And I think that's very clear. I mean, that's the obvious thing now, right? I mean, that has to be the path. Now, not necessarily separate ways in that they both can't stay. I mean, I won't even 100% say Jackson County can't have both. I think it's very unlikely both stay in Jackson County, but it's not 100% dead. But I think they have to clearly go separate paths, run their own campaigns. It's their own projects, approach each municipality and explore all their options individually. I think you have to. And I think what we're finding out, it's been really interesting in the last 24 hours because this has got national attention too. Not only with some mayor in Dallas or whatever flirting with a team and all that, but there was a story out in Arizona yesterday I read about what's been going on for a long time with the hockey team, the Coyotes out there, and and their stadium projects. And then you mentioned Nashville, but how they have a little stadium fatigue there because they're building a new NFL stadium, and now you're talking about baseball there. And it's interesting. I think it would take almost every mayor to agree to like some pack, but the notion of one city or one county supporting multiple new projects stadium-wise, is that realistic now in 2024? And not just with voters, number one,
sure,
but is that financially realistic knowing the kind of cost you're discussing? And that's why I think they also have to go separate ways. Like the notion of like, hey, they should not be publicly financed, that to me will never end unless you somehow got every single mayor on board across the country in major cities and said, you know what?
Sign a pact or something.
Yeah, like we're not going to give any public money.
They couldn't even get the governor to the state connecting to them to sign that one.
And also, that's just how business is done to lure other business to your state and city.
Capitalism.
We mentioned this with the Google data center thing the other day. It's not like Google chose Kansas City because of the barbecue. No, there's some incentives they are getting to build a data center. The Panasonic isn't building or didn't build a battery or whatever center out in Kansas because, again, they just love Kansas. It was because there was some great incentives to come to Kansas. Look, that's how stuff operates. And as you said, business is done.
Meanwhile, on the field of play, the Royals have my interest, okay? They do. They are hitting well enough with some of their young stars, and I'm like, okay, I see the intrigue. The starting pitching has been incredible. They got the best ERA in baseball out of their starting staff. They've got 4 starts of 0 earned runs. They got a sub 1.5 ERA through 6 starts. Their first full rotation was a 1.74 ERA. Cole Reagans went 7 strikeouts again last night in shutout innings. But they're 2-4 because the damn bullpen is killing us early. I'll preface this by saying, if you're panicked about a bullpen after 6 starts, that's probably a little bit too much. What is that's not probably. It's too much. But think about where we'd be right now if they were 4-2, which they definitively should be. If the bullpen could have just been on track with the rest of this stuff right now, because their starting rotation has been way too good for a 2-4 record.
Sure.
And they're making me frustrated with a rebuilt bullpen already. They got to be careful with Will Smith here moving forward. I know they promised him the closer job. I mean, that had to be in stone, right?
Yeah, you got to perform. And I do think, to me, you at least give him, at minimum, one more opportunity. I know there's that balance of, hey, if you want to prove that you're serious about this year, you can't keep having a guy blow games for you. It's been 2, though. And I know everything's magnified in April early just because it's fresh, it's new. And if this was a random June stretch where you had 2 outings in a row that you blew, we probably wouldn't magnify it as much. But we all know how important April is and how this team typically starts. And knowing that you're getting great starting pitching and 1 through 5 of your order has been phenomenal as well.
Which we kind of thought was going to be the case.
And so, that's why it's ultra frustrating. I think you got to at least give them another opportunity or 2, and I think they will, by the way. You're not going to make a decision to a guy you plan as your closer all spring, and after 2 outings, you don't flip him. I'm sorry.
No,
you just don't do that.
No, that's not the case.
But there's reason to be concerned. Some people were pointing out, even not to get too nerdy with it, but people were going into some of his velocity from last year and the year prior. His velocity's down a little bit and so is there some concern there? It's something to watch. It's definitely the biggest concern you have to have about the team right now. And, always Seth Lugo's going to pitch tonight against the White Sox, and they're back at home. So, eventually you're going to have a bad outing from your starting pitcher. Like, they're not going to pitch like this all year, okay?
No.
So somebody is going to have a bad outing soon. You hope it's not now, but my point being
it may never happen. You're just going to have a 1.5 ERA the whole time.
You need to get, you're going to need the bullpen to pick you up one of these games too. And that hasn't happened yet, and it's frustrating because honestly, without even doing much mental gymnastics, you really could look at it and say they should have swept the Orioles.
Uh-huh.
And that's
and
what
then they
sucks.
would be getting ready to have a 4-game series against one of the worst teams in baseball in the White Sox. And then, of course, it'll be like, oh, a couple of starters will have a bad start. And all of a sudden, you'd be like, well, we went 2-2 against the White Sox, and we're still 2 games under 500, when it could have been more than that. We know that this division is up for grabs. I understand the Tigers are 4-0. They've had like a gajillion rainouts.
I think they play a doubleheader today.
They do. So they haven't played nearly as many games as the Royals because they've had some rain-related issues. But just think about where they've been. So right now, the starting pitchers, look, they can't continue this run. They've given up 6 runs and 37 1/3 innings. That's ridiculous. The rebuilt starting rotation, that's working. I like where that's headed. But the relievers have given up 14 runs in 15 2/3 innings. And by the way, all 14 of those runs have been given up in the 8th or later.
Say that again.
All 14 of the runs the bullpen has given up have been in the 8th inning or later. Part of the reason is because every starter is going 6 or 7 innings. But damn,
which is
you're
a good
giving
thing,
them all up late.
Well, sure, the starting pitching is, there's no complaints there. That is a great thing. It's just, man, it makes this start there's tons of positives. I actually think, and it sucks because
for the Royals,
it sucks because they only had 2 wins.
Yeah, people don't want to hear us come on, but
I know.
honestly, you should feel good about where the Royals have started. I know you can't just take the record completely away.
No, eventually, like the wins have to start.
Yeah, they will matter eventually. About 20 games into this thing, if they're let's say extrapolate this, they're 6 games into this. Let's say 24 games into this thing. If for the next 3 times they're 8 games under 500 by the time we get to 24 games because they're 2 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a huge problem. Of course, it's a huge problem. They go out and win 3 or 4 against the White Sox and they're 5-5. We're probably having a slightly different conversation. But even for bad teams, you know how hard it is in baseball to win 3 out of 4 in a series, even against bad teams? That's the problem with the Orioles. That's a really good team, and you had them on the ropes every night.
Last night was even more.
Every night.
Last night was even more frustrating than Monday. And Monday, I was obviously, like a lot of people, was super bummed because they had that one in their grasp. I think it was Monday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And that was where Lofton unfortunately had a couple mistakes at first base. Now, to his credit, yesterday he came back. They had him right in the lineup. Or 2 days ago, I'm sorry. He came back in the lineup and got a couple hits right away. But last night was the most frustrating loss of the season to me.
Oh, easily.
Right? It's not even close.
Because you would have been back to 500. You would have taken 2 out of 3 against Baltimore. Cole Reagans gets his first win, and everything just feels like – because Cole Reagans pitched really well in the first game. The offense just didn't show up in a game it felt like you could have won. The problem is there hasn't been a single game this year where I'm like, this team doesn't have a chance to win. They've been in every single game, and they're 2-4. They've just gotten their ass because they're going to get their ass kicked one of these days. It's baseball. It happens.
I don't know if there's. I was thinking about this last night. In all of sports, I don't know if there's much worse than a bullpen that wets the bed on a consistent basis. When your team
to start the year, no, it's definitely been the Royals.
When your team is just in general, like when you're getting your starters to go 6 or 7 innings, when the offense is being productive enough to have you up in the 8th inning. And you've lost games. I know it's really early and we have a lot more to play, but over the course of a season, if the bullpen were to blow 25 games this year, that there's not much worse in all the sports that's worse than that, I don't think, as a fan to have to endure.
But history would tell you, and they did rebuild the bullpen, history would tell you that they shouldn't be this bad. The biggest concern with Will Smith is his velocity's down because he's been a relatively consistent pitcher across it. I'm not even saying, all I'm saying with Will Smith is, tread lightly in the closer role. I'm not saying he can't be a big part of your bullpen or any of those things, and it's not like he gave up the runs in the 8th, right? It's not like it was just Will Smith who contributed to the problem last night. Be unfair to throw him individually under the bus. But they still managed to go to the 9th inning, the bottom of the 9th inning with the lead.
And you're the closer.
And he's the closer, and he got 2 outs, and the bases were loaded, but he got 2 outs. He was sitting there with 2 strikes and a chance to win this damn game for your team, and he couldn't make the pitch. Like Cotrero the other day, he was on with Bob and Josh yesterday before another blown one, and he said he wasn't concerned about it yet. And I don't think you should be after 6 games. But, God, a lot of it is just because you and I both knew that the winning margin was very razor thin for this team. You can always, you're going to lose some games you should have won. can't lose. Like, so far, there's 3 games
Any
already.
toss-up kind of game.
3
even
games
though
already
last night
this year they should have won.
Even though you could argue like last night shouldn't have been even a toss-up game. I mean, the way it was
They
trending.
played way better.
Yeah, they did, and so we'll see. They're back at it tonight. They're back home for a 7-game homestand, I believe. So an opportunity to head out to Kauffman Stadium over the next couple of days, and hopefully against on paper and the White Sox team that they should have some success. They're better, like roster-wise, they're better now. That doesn't guarantee that you're going to go sweep them or win the series, but that's something that if you want to talk about how you're feeling today, this is a series you should win going up against. I know Reagan's isn't going to pitch in the series because he just pitched last night, but
everyone else is pitching like Reagan's right now.
Correct, and I still think 1 through 5, and we haven't had a chance to talk about a whole lot because of the vote stuff and also the struggles with the bullpen. But Maikel Garcia. He's got 3 home runs. He
has been great.
What was his total last year?
He was motivated by my 5.
On opening day.
5 home runs.
On opening day, we talked about could his power numbers increase. Well, a week into the season, today will be a full week. So not even a full week into the season yet of games, and he's 2 home runs away, you said, from what he had all of last year.
Is the ball juiced? That's the real question.
No, I don't think so.
The baseball likes to do that
Of course.
2 or 3 years.
You think that's what's happening?
I was just asking.
I don't think so.
I was guessing on his home runs. Let me actually look it up. I think it was like...
his career is 7, so...
Okay. Then that might be what he hit last year. But he played in 2022.
He had 4 last year.
4 home runs last year.
From what I can see.
He is already 1 home run away. God, I mean...
I think that's it.
It looks like 4 home runs last year. Again, he had no power last year. His OPS was 681. That's far below Major League last year. He has 1,000 OPS to start the year. He's got 3 home runs, a triple, 2 doubles. Last year, the total number of extra base hits he had was 28. He already has 6 this year, 6 games into the year. Look, I don't think he's going to have 162 extra base hits, but I mean, yeah, he has been. That's the thing about it. It's been so frustrating is there are plenty of pop. Bobby Wood Jr. is hitting like an absolute superstar. He just looks, other than the base paths, he's not doing great there. Other than that, he is absolutely dialed in at the plate. Vinny is the only guy in the top 5 who isn't hitting, and all he's doing is walking. He's just getting on base so Salvi can knock him in, which is what you're supposed to do when you're, maybe not getting on base. And also, 2 games ago, he hit 4 balls that were all absolutely rocket shots.
Santander got him on a couple on Monday night.
Times, yeah.
On Tuesday night.
So, I don't worry. There's so many parts. The starting rotation plans seem like they're going swimmingly. The offense plans, at least from the top end of it, seem to be going. It's just a bullpen's catching you right now. And games are close in these early April games. Go ahead and win 3 out of 4 against the White Sox. We can start again on Monday 5-5. Wouldn't that make you feel good? I mean, if they're 20-20 after 40 games, I'm going to feel pretty good about where the Royals are.
6:40 right tonight, or 7:40? 6:40 tonight. First pitch at a Kauffman Stadium. Seth Lugo on the bump for the Royals. They open up a series against the Chicago White Sox. Coming up next, though, we haven't had a chance a whole lot this week to discuss Rashee Rice and the latest developments around his accident or wreck that it looks like potentially he caused down in Dallas. But let's get some legal expertise on this from Amy Dash, our Odyssey legal insider. We'll ask her what could he be responsible for and what could potential punishment be from both, obviously, the criminal side and the league. That's coming up next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
On your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
None of us are saying that anybody needs to change careers on the Diamonds yet. We're not that far, but you can change your career in as little as 4 months in the absolute perfect industry, IT.
Yeah, Centric has a structured hands-on learning approach. Doesn't just prepare you for a job, but for lasting success in your IT career. And one thing we continue to tell you about is how flexible they are with your schedule. So you've got a full-time job right now, but as Cody was saying, maybe you just want something new. You want a new path, more stability, some better pay. They've got classes that are both a hybrid model, in-person, online only, evening, daytime. It doesn't matter. They will work with you.
Russ Mondry's been working with students like you for 20 years in this city. He is the person who you will directly talk to when you go to centric.com/610. You can make IT your future by looking at what Centric has to offer in exactly those. And with how many local companies they work with, GI Bill, Sally Mae, they can work with your needs to make sure that Centric is the perfect fit. Go to centric.com/610.
The Landing in Liberty, the largest sports bar north of the river and the home of over 65 HD TVs with every sports package. Hey, our motto is any game, anytime. 10,000 square feet under one roof to provide adequate social distancing. Our non-smoking patio is not covered, but in the winter it's home of the only dine-in heated igloos in the Northland. Each igloo has its own TV and sound system and seats up to 8 people. The Landing has a great menu featuring the best dry rub wings in Kansas City and the home of the Ben Mallard chicken fingers. Most of our menu items, dressing and wing sauces are house-made. Daily food specials, happy hour every day from 3 till 7 p.m. Live music on our smoking patio Thursday through Sunday nights. Make your next destination The Landing in Liberty. Food, fun, music, and sports. The Landing in Liberty, 1189 West Kansas Street in Liberty. Check us out online at thelandingeateryandpub.com. We'll see you at The Landing.
Do you like to shoot fireworks? How would you like to get paid to shoot fireworks? J&M Displays wants you. Shoot 4th of July at Sporting KC and a variety of other exciting events in the KC area throughout the year. Like to travel? J&M covers Nebraska, Kansas, and most of Missouri. J&M offers free training and great daily pay rates, which makes it a perfect part-time job. And seriously, there's nothing like hearing the cheers of the crowd at the end of the show that you helped shoot. Be a part of the action. Visit jnmdisplays.com and click the Join Our Team tab to find out more.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? Well, Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has helped over 35,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares, and they may be able to help you too. If you were misled into signing a timeshare agreement that is a lifetime commitment, if you were told timeshare is a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you need to get the facts about timeshare cancellation. For over 10 years, Wesley Financial Group has been dedicated to helping folks get out of a lifetime of debt by canceling their timeshares. So they created a timeshare exit information kit, which reveals how the timeshare industry works and what your options are for cancellation. Simply call Wesley right now and they will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. See how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. Again, 800-761-0000.
As an educator, Mr. Nelson's teachings are still being quoted in schools.
Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world.
Mr. Nelson taught hope.
Everyone can rise above their circumstances if they are dedicated and passionate.
And giving our best efforts.
It's always impossible until it's done.
Mr. Nelson Mandela's teachings not only united a nation, they inspire us today. Inspiration. Pass it on from passiton.com.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Be Honest Bespoke Skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Danny Green, three-time NBA champ. You either rooted for me or rooted against me. Join myself and my co-host Harrison Sanford on the Inside the Green Room podcast.
It's a podcast that brings you never-before-told tales from the locker room to candid interviews with basketball legends to breakdowns of what's happening in the NBA right now. Whether you're a diehard fan or casual about your hoops, this podcast brings you the game like never before.
Follow Inside the Green Room on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're perfect 10. I wanna get in. Can I get down so I can win? I like the way you work it.
Coming up in about 10 minutes or so, we will get to the Texans' big trade yesterday. It happened right at the beginning of our show, and we had a short show, and obviously we're focused in on the stadium stuff. But Stephon Diggs, a member of the Texans now. What does that mean for Houston? And what it could mean for the Chiefs, plus, of course, where the Bills are heading from here and some shifting in the odds markets for both teams when you take a look at the Super Bowl odds. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. But we wanted to get a legal opinion and someone that obviously specializes in that to give us some insight on what could be ahead for Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice after that wreck in Dallas on Saturday night. We know yesterday he even went on Instagram and for the first time, other than a statement from his lawyer, him directly mentioning that he did talk to Dallas police about that and his involvement maybe in that. But let's welcome in Amy Dash. She's our Odyssey legal insider here on 610 Sports Radio. And Amy, I appreciate the time. I just want to get, in general, your thoughts on where things are at right now, the wreck in both cars, it sounds like, being in Rashee Rice's name.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right that the police are in the process of trying to just establish whether or not he was on the scene. There's been some speculation from videos that somebody, people are trying to piece together pictures from earlier in the day and then videos from the scene to see if he had the same clothes on and he was in fact there. But we know that the people that were involved in the accident, many of them did leave the scene. And so I think that's significant because then the question becomes, was he there? If he was, why did he leave the scene? Did he not want to be tested for drugs or alcohol? Did he maybe have, if he was there, have something perhaps on him? Did they not want to be subjected to questioning? So we know that as of this point, the police may actually have a really hard time establishing not only was he there, but if they do establish was he there, just being able to establish that he was in fact a driver of one of the vehicles. And that all matters.
When you look at so some of the legal stuff, I know in some states they can just charge you for DUI for fleeing. Just being well, it's an assumption because you left an accident. Is that a case in Texas? Is that something that they would even try, not knowing or having any information? Because there was at least one report they were at a bar beforehand.
Right. I don't think that they would try to charge with DUI unless there was proof and testing to establish that actually somebody did ingest alcohol. But leaving the scene of an accident is more commonly known as a hit-and-run offense. And so in Texas, there's not only a duty to give information and stay at the scene and provide, name, address, registration number of vehicle, et cetera, but there's also a duty to render aid. So since there were 6 cars, and we know that while there haven't been reports of serious bodily injuries, there have been reports that there were some injuries, albeit minor ones, but there was a duty to render aid if necessary. And so if you leave the scene of an accident, you could go to jail for up to 5 years, though it would be that would probably be unlikely in this scenario, or up to 1 year and have a fine of $5,000. So I think that's actually the most serious charge that could be faced if, in fact, he was there and left the scene.
We're talking to Amy Dash, our Odyssey legal insider, about Rashee Rice's legal situation after a multi-car wreck down in Dallas last Saturday evening. You mentioned from a criminal standpoint that could be the most serious. It seems like the civil liability, is that where it might actually hurt him the most?
Actually, the street racing, if in fact he was there, would probably hurt him the most financially if the police were to exercise their forfeiture laws. Texas now has a thing where vehicles can be forfeited, and I think because there was a Lamborghini, I believe, and a Corvette, and the Lamborghini was leased. These could be very expensive vehicles that would have to be handed over. If, in fact, there were serious injuries and the medical bills exceeded the cost of the vehicles, then the civil liability would come in to be a financial hit. But actually, the cost of these vehicles and having them seized would probably be the most serious. And in fact, passengers, even if they can establish that he was driving, if he was there, passengers can also be charged with the same offense as the driver under the street racing laws there. So even spectators, believe it or not, could be fined and have issues with their license. Licenses could be suspended. You could be put on probation. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the civil liabilities for injury.
Like, do you look at it from we're in the outsider perspective. I'm like, okay, he said nothing, which a lawyer would recommend. Then he got a really good lawyer based on report, which, again, I think most people would recommend. When you go that serious, that hard, you say nothing, and then you obtain what I would call very good legal counsel. Does that say anything to you other than just, I'm protecting myself in this situation?
I think it's very smart to not speak to the police until you have an attorney present. And there are reports that he is, in fact, cooperating with the police, and his lawyer says he's making every effort to be responsible about this. But whether or not he's going to volunteer information and say whether or not he was driving could compromise him legally. So he may have been advised, even if he was driving one of the cars, by his attorney not to admit to that fact, because it may be very hard for them to establish that he was the driver, considering that it seems that most of the people in the car left the scene. If those are his friends, they don't cooperate, nobody gives that information, and there's no video to prove that he was the driver, well, then that could help him legally. On the other hand, like you said, he's got this powerful attorney who's very well connected, and so maybe if he was a driver, part of the strategy there is to say, listen to the police, give him a break, and then we'll cooperate, and he'll fess up. He'll take responsibility if he was the driver, and we'll give you the information that you need to establish exactly what happened here, but then go easy on him and give him some sort of a deal. It doesn't include prison time, and maybe it's just a suspended license, and there's no charges, there's no trial.
How likely would you think that is that prison time is something that Rashid could actually face?
I do not think it's likely at all because there wasn't serious bodily injury. Now, if it comes out that there was serious bodily injury, then it could potentially be a felony, especially the leaving scene of an accident. That becomes a felony if there's serious bodily injury. You also can elevate the charges on the street racing if in fact they were speeding, and they'd have to go to the black box and figure that out. But otherwise, this is all just sort of in the misdemeanor category if there's nothing serious.
Before we let you go, Amy, on the NFL side, I know it's a completely different scenario where Commissioner Roger Goodell can essentially, within reason, decide whatever punishment he wants. What's your, thought on that? Have we had any similar circumstance like this involving a NFL player? I know there was a college player that everybody will bring up in Jalen Carter where someone did pass away, but he wasn't even in the NFL yet, and so I don't believe he even got suspended by the NFL.
Well, a lot of people are bringing up Henry Ruggs,
Sure.
who obviously is in prison right now and had his career essentially ruined. But in that circumstance, as you bring up, somebody was killed. Here, I think the extent of the injuries has a lot to do with it. There have been, I think July last year, the Vikings rookie wide receiver, Jordan Addison, was caught speeding, and there have been, and actually in a Lamborghini, and there have been lots of players who've been cited for speeding and reckless driving, and they've gotten no suspension. I think there was someone on the Jets who got a one-game suspension after a crash, and that left someone partially paralyzed. So I don't think there's a likelihood of a suspension here. However, if he was involved and he was street racing, he wasn't just speeding, there was a 6-car collision. So it really depends on what the injuries are. I think if there are minor injuries, there may be some other penalty, training, treatment programs, rehabilitation, but not necessarily suspension unless somebody was seriously injured.
Amy, it's always great to get your insight on this, and thanks so much for the time.
Oh, my pleasure. Nice speaking with you guys, and have a great day.
Amy Dash, our Odyssey legal insider, with us on 610 Sports Radio. That last part, ultimately we know there's the criminal side, but the last part, a lot of people listening just from a sports perspective, they want to know, is he going to play next year? And,
sure.
and is there a suspension coming? And she laid out a couple other examples, and not every scenario is exactly the same. Each one is unique. But the injury part is going to be the key. And so far, it doesn't sound like, thank goodness, anybody was seriously hurt. And if that continues and we don't find out in another month or something
else happened
that
we don't know about,
or whatever it may be, then it sure sounds like, Cody, we could be either no suspension or 1 or 2 games max based on some of the comparisons there.
Well, the problem is that what she's talking about, that street racing element, that's going to, if you think about it from a court of law perspective, that's a very difficult thing to prove. You could just be like, no, we weren't racing each other. We were both just driving fast. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think you've got a really good lawyer. That's a difficult thing to distinguish between the two. Now, look,
the video's pretty. I mean, unless there's another video too. I mean, the dash cam video, you can tell that, like you said, speeding's one thing, but in Dallas, multiple reports say that area is also very commonly street racing. I don't know. Neither one of us are attorneys. I
think that's what I'd argue if I was an attorney.
Yeah, I just don't know the fact that there's the dash. I mean, pretty rare that you have dash cam video of a wreck like that.
I wonder what will happen. So, in talking to her, the one thing that really stands out is if he has his ducks in a row, as in if everybody's story is going to stay the same, he got so lucky in all of this. Because really, the difference between a whole lot of trouble and maybe just a little bit of trouble for him might very seriously just be that he got lucky. Nobody got hurt. No one got seriously hurt. And just as long as no new reports come out that there was an injury that we don't know about, that is now popped up, or those things out of there, then we're having a very different conversation. And that's where it feels like Rashee Rice might have just really dodged it. Because she's right. I went back through after she had said that to us, and I was like, are there suspensions for reckless driving? Not unless someone really gets hurt. Not unless someone really, really gets hurt. Or they can prove that you were driving drunk or things that like would change the math on it a little bit. If it is just simply you were driving recklessly because you were driving fast in a major metro area and caused an accident, well, just like if you were speeding and got in an accident, those are considered minor. You know what I'm saying? That's a traffic violation. Those are misdemeanors.
I just never know with Roger Goodell. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's a mixed bag, dude.
You never know, but
You and I were both surprised by Charles Omenihu's length of his suspension.
Right. Now, that was domestic violence.
But even still, I thought it was more than I thought it was going to be. That's all.
Right now, based off of what Amy was saying, and she gave some examples of some other where it was more just reckless driving, I would be stunned if it's anywhere more than 4. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking it's like a 2-game or less suspension, barring any new information coming out.
Yeah. The way she's talking, I'm kind of thinking 2 or less.
Essentially, I was
originally I was thinking 2 to 4, but now I'm thinking like 2 or less.
Away from the field, I just thought it was interesting that Texas. I don't know if there's other states that have this. I was looking more into it when she mentioned that. This just started back in September. That law around street racing, where there was a bill that passed there that gives police the right to impound cars of those charged with the street racing or reckless driving, whether it's a felony or a misdemeanor, and then obviously they can auction it off or whatever they in. I don't know how that all works, but I'm assuming they would just auction everything off. But that's interesting. So
I will not be doing any street racing in the future if that exists in Missouri.
The civil side and financially what it's all going to cost him. Yeah, that might ultimately be the most damaging thing for him is what it's going to cost. Now I don't know. Does insurance cover some of it? I have no idea.
So bodily injury, yes. Insurance. Look, my insurance. It depends on which level of car insurance you have. Like I have up to I think $500,000 of.
I'm just wondering if the insurance is actually going to take care of a lot of the cost part we're even talking about.
Don't know. For some of it, yes. And again, I don't know. Like any other loophole, the insurance might have an out based on reckless driving
or street racing.
Right?
Yeah.
That might, or street racing, or if you're charged with that, can you get out of it? Those things, man, that's not the case.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be street racing. You got a new ride.
I did.
You got a new ride. I saw that this morning.
Street racing it.
I was making sure you sent me a photo, but also you park in a spot we've always joked. You're not.
I park on the side of the
Cody parks in a spot we specifically got an email like a year and a half or 2 years ago. We were told not to park there.
I will not conform.
And I think it was probably been 2-3 years at this point.
It's been a long time.
We got an email way back when, like, hey, don't park on this side of the building. Cody kept parking there.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. I like it over there.
And so it's all alone. And so it was jarring, honestly, driving in today.
You're like,
I was like, what is this? No,
you got a new ride. My 14-year-old Jetta.
Yeah.
I did get a new ride. You know what? Thanks for bringing it up. It feels, I am 39 years old. This is my first ever brand new car.
Really?
Never had a brand new car in my life. Who the hell can afford a brand new? I mean, like, it took me this long in life. I was out here working part-time jobs, bartending. No, my first car ever was a 93 Grand Am. That certainly wasn't new. I've had an Accord, and I've been driving this Jetta for now. This has been a car we have owned for almost 11 or 12 years. It's a 14-year-old car. Bought it. It had 23,000 miles on it, the last car. Pretty good. We got a brand new, stuck with Volkswagen, Tiguan.
Nice. No, we went out and looked at it during before the show started or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, do you get to drive it all the time, or is this your?
This is my primary car. So this is my new ride.
So you have to fight your wife off of the vehicle.
For the most part, we just like the family car is in like whichever car is nicer at the time, which is previously her car, now mine. We usually take that anytime we're going anywhere as a unit anyway. So really the only time I'm driving it on my own is to and from work. Most other times we're transporting children or going to places. So for the most part, this will be the everyday Tap family car. Actually, you know what? Radio advertisement works. I wanted to use somebody who supports us as a station, so I went out to lead Summit Volkswagen. It was nice. This is not a paid endorsement.
Now, where's your other car?
They do not
Where's your
endorse
other
me.
car?
It's gone.
Traded
it in.
You trade
okay.
The jet is gone.
I didn't know if you're just gonna, just junk
drive
it or
off
something.
a bridge or something.
Just junk it.
No hubcaps. The interior lining had started to peel away from the roof. That car, look, great car for a very long time. Loved it.
I was going to say, you're just throwing it under the bus now.
Time to move on.
It was time, dude.
No, I get it.
It was just, the problem was not that it wasn't a good car. It ran like a tank. That was the least amount of maintenance I had ever put in a car in my life. Like I did the regular stuff, right?
Sure.
Oh, you change spark plugs, you get an oil change. Like I took care of the car, but from a major mechanical issue, never had a single one. I drove that car for 14 years. The water pump never went out. The alternator, nothing. The starter never went out. That car drove for 14 damn years, and I never had to replace a thing on it. So I had no complaints about it. I had almost 200,000 miles on it. Car drove like a dream, but it was time for me to get I got a brand new
We're not going to have to hear a
car.
story now
felt
when
good.
Cody comes back from, I'm assuming, a trip to Colorado later this summer.
Right, to replace a solenoid again.
I was trying to think of the part. Yeah, solenoid. We're not going to hear the solenoid story times two. That is for sure.
We can hear maybe how you four-wheel drove up a mountain instead or something like that, up a hill. I don't know.
Cody offered he'll drive us wherever we want now if we do show stuff. He said he'll take us all. Yeah, he's already offered.
You guys are willing to ride in the new ride? Where are we going together? We should take like one of these Royals Day games. I'll take us all in the new car out for lunch.
Perfect.
Great.
We'll go get some lunch.
That sounds good.
Not eating in the car. We gotta.
No, I don't blame you. Yeah.
We're gonna have to need to. That's gotta wait. Look, my kids are gonna.
You try to wait as long as possible.
I bought seat protectors for their car seats because their car seats need like dents in the seat. So I bought some seat protectors that should get here today. Amazon one day. That's the way to live, I bought it while I was sitting at the dealership last night. I gotta protect this bad boy. I got some seat protectors. My daughter was kicking her feet around the watch with those feet early.
You know how this
Protect
is.
the car for a little bit.
We talked about this a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, about like this. You get something new. Initially everybody's like no eating in the car, and then I feel like after 5 months, then you're feeling more comfortable going through a drive-through.
It might even be sooner than that.
Maybe, yeah. And then all of a sudden you go through a drive-through one time, you're like, we wait until we're going home to eat, and then like the next week you're like, oh, well, I'll grab, I'll let them eat, a fry out of the bag while we're driving, and the next thing you know, it's normal.
Someone says Tap got that professor money now. They haven't given me that check yet. They haven't even technically hired me. They asked me to do the job. They asked me for all my background information. I heard from them in a month. So maybe I'm
you might want to wait. Hold on. You said
education works slow.
Hold on. You said they haven't responded since you sent in the background info.
No. Well, they said
that's a little sketch.
They said thanks. You know what? Maybe some extra stuff to pass my background.
You might
check.
want to follow up on that. No, that's awesome. We will certainly take you up on the offer at some point here very soon. I do want to talk about maybe we'll carry this over into the next segment a little bit because Stephon Diggs getting traded to the Texans stunned all of us right when we got on the air yesterday. Stephon Diggs gets traded to Houston, and it's for a second-round pick. And Stephon Diggs' contract is actually not bad if you're the Texans.
No,
the Bills are going to eat
nothing.
$31 million this particular season, and now the Texans are clearly all in.
Yeah,
and that's what's
and they
interesting
should be
here.
when you got a good rookie quarterback on a great deal.
You get a four-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, and I know we can get into clearly the stuff last summer out of Buffalo, and seems like a guy that is really at times more focused on individual performance than the team performance based off of how the team has gone compared to his individual performances in certain games and interactions on the sideline and things like that. But if you're a Texans fan, you got to love this trade. The Texans, as you said, they're all in. You can do it when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. And just a couple days ago, we had a conversation about who's the biggest threat for the number one seed. The Texans were already a threat. Now I think it's not just a threat for the one seed. They might be the second best team in the AFC.
Yeah, I think they are. On paper, at least. Obviously, halfway through the season, we might change our math on that. But Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs, They've got a decent tight end. That's a
Joe Mixon now at running back.
that's a salty squad. Now here's the biggest problem with just being like they're the second best team. It still requires what has happened with other really good young quarterbacks. Stroud still has to get better. I want to point out that Stroud was really good. He was the best of the rookie quarterbacks, there's no doubt. But in order for them to be the second biggest threat to the Chiefs, he can't be as good as he was last year. He has to be better than he was last year. Because Joe Burrow is better than Stroud was last year. Josh Allen is better than Stroud was last year. Stroud has to take that slight step forward in production, which I don't think is a leap. That's why I think they're the second best team.
It's what we talk about with Mahomes, too. You're right. His stats next year might actually be a little worse, but he can still be a better quarterback, right?
Correct.
It's
correct. It's not a stat-based thing.
It's the smarts, if you will, I guess. It's
the winning. Staying close. It's not getting blown out. It's winning your division easily.
You're gonna see new things. You're gonna see defenses give you some different looks. Like, how do you continue to evolve from that? That's, I think, kind of where I'm at. And it will be interesting. Now you have a little bit more of a target on your back as a player and as a team. Here we are. We're talking about them maybe being the second best team in the AFC.
Probably going to be the game to open the season.
People didn't.
That just skyrockets. Think about it. They always do the up-and-coming team, not the established team. Up-and-coming Texans versus the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs.
So I think that's the week 1 game as well. However, I will say now, if you're the NFL and if you do believe that both these teams are going to be 12-plus win teams next year, do you save them for a December matchup? We talked about this last year going into the season about Cincinnati. Do you have the Cincinnati game early in the year or you save it for later in the year? But yes, on paper, it looks like a very smart thing to have Stroud Mahomes for the first time to open up the season. Although the ratings for that game are always great anyway. So do you save that matchup and do you give a little lesser matchup week 1? That would be the only reason why I could see them maybe not making a Chiefs-Texans, is they think that matchup's going to be massive for the number 1 seed later on in the year.
I think one thing to also, the Bengals are a little bit different because it took after Joe Burrow's rookie year for them to win the division. They won the division in the first season, so their schedule is a division-winning schedule. So they got better. C.J. Stroud also has to prove that he's better. They host Baltimore, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, divisional teams. On the road, they have the Cowboys, the Packers, the Chiefs, and then divisional teams as well as the Jets. So
that first-place schedule is good. Another big test for Stroud,
It is.
We're talking about Cincinnati, too. That actually would be the second choice. I think there's actually a really decent chance that it's Chiefs-Bengals week 1.
Well, how the hell am I supposed to think it's the Bills right now? Who is he throwing to? Is Khalil Shakir his number 1 wide receiver until they enter the draft?
Curtis Samuel. Andy Isabella.
Curtis Samuel is not a good number 1 wide receiver. He's a perfectly fine wide receiver. He's not a good number 1.
My guess is they're going to trade up in the draft and get one of the 3 or 4, the 4th best receiver or 3rd best receiver, what's perceived to be the best.
Yeah, but the thing is, get it right, and then you're fine. Yeah. Get it wrong, and then you've got massive problems at your wide receiver position.
Well, this is a huge test for Josh Allen. It's the next start. We've seen Mahomes have to deal with poor wide receiver rooms, and he elevated. And I think Josh Allen is fantastic. But you want to talk about really showing is the gap even bigger or is it smaller between Allen and Mahomes and all this? To me, Mahomes is way ahead of Allen. Duh. But also, if Josh Allen can win 12-plus games with what is perceived to be a weak wide receiver room like Mahomes has done before, and if Josh Allen can be one of the top seeds, that goes a long way, I think, for Josh Allen's case of where he ultimately stands in the, who is he, a top 3 quarterback still? Is he a top 2 quarterback? That'll be a big thing for the season and narratives that happen throughout the year.
A lot of the talk last year was look at what Josh Allen's doing with so little help. I think that this is the year.
It was so funny that they were saying about Allen last year.
This is the year where that conversation is real. And by the way, current wide receivers on the Bills roster: Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Matt Collins, Justin Shorter, KJ Hamler.
You don't need to name anyone
Andy
after the first
Isabella. Brian Thompson, Tyrell Shavers.
Back in the car real quick. Somebody pointed out something on Twitch and we screwed up. Scuba said there was 2 opportunities that we missed out the opportunity on. 1, I should have done what Drew did with his couch. I should have tried to
sold
sell
your car on Facebook Marketplace.
Somebody would have
on
taken
air. I tried to try to sell the car to somebody and include a Club 610 invite, or it could have been the creme de la creme of Cody and Gold garage sale items of all time. I just included my used Jetta in the Cody and Gold garage sale.
We could have done a lot of things. Now, look, I don't know if you want to say it on air. It's up to you. How much? What do we?
It's not a valuable car.
How much did you get for it? So we would know if it's because if you got a decent amount, you wouldn't be able to do it in the garage.
If you traded it in for the purchase of the new car, then you got more, obviously, than what
exactly.
it was.
Yeah, like a few thousand, right? Where you're like, okay.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Because otherwise, I was suggesting we just have it in the parking lot. And we have a giant tarp, and we for
And
charity.
for $1?
For charity, people can come and just.
We need 1,000. Like
with
1,000, 2,000 people come smash it up.
With a sledgehammer, they just get one sled.
Damn, we should have. That would have been fun.
We could have done the show, and for $5.
This is a total missed opportunity by me.
$5 per person, and some of it goes to charity, or all of it goes to charity. And we would have let people. We would have got your money back on the car, but the rest goes to charity or something like that.
Yeah. Once I'm even, the rest goes to charity.
I don't know. We would have to then get a disposal company to help us clean up the entire mess of glass all over the parking lot.
We'll figure that out. That's what the tarp is for.
Shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Damn. Missed opportunity. We could have smashed up my car.
Mine, and maybe down the road we'll see where my car is
That'd
at.
been very cathartic for me. I'm going to be honest with you. For me to personally take a bat to a car would have been like, wow, what a moment.
Could have been fun. My guess is the bosses wouldn't like that. There's a little liability problem there.
Johnny Dare's had a flamethrower in the parking lot. We can't smash up one car.
My guess is we'd have to have some people sign something.
I know we don't have Johnny Dare.
Somebody gets hurt, as they're slamming the sledgehammer into the vehicle. Someone tries to sue. Unfortunately, I think we probably would have to have some legal check on that.
Yeah, it would have taken a little more work. And I was looking to get in the new car. So, it was time.
All right, coming up next, we'll get back to the Royals and what this year on the field could mean for future stadium propositions next.
Hey, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Don't forget to follow Cody and Gold on the Odyssey app so you can listen on demand to my terrific football takes throughout the year right here on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
Barbecue put Kansas City on the map, and Smokehouse Barbecue has been serving up the best barbecue in Kansas City for over 35 years. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. When my family and I want delicious baby back ribs, burnt ends, and hickory pit beans, we head to Smokehouse Barbecue. Of course, no trip to Smokehouse is complete without their Cajun chicken wings, which are the best wings on the planet. Visit them in Independent, Zona Rosa, or Gladstone, or at smokehousebbq.com. For over 35 years, locally owned and family operated, it's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Are you in need of top quality metal for your next project? Look no further than Metal by the Foot. Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. The Foot. Blue Demon Welding Supplies, filler rods, and wire. The Foot. Cronius Professional Welding Equipment, service and repairs. The Foot. Located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the Foot.
Hey Kansas City, it's Brian Pringle with Victory Ford in KCK. Get ready for our hail sale at Victory Ford right here at the Legends in KCK. We're slashing prices on new Crew Cab 4x4 F-150 starting at just $39,988. That's right, hail savings of thousands of dollars on every vehicle. Visit VictoryFordKC.com to browse through hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles with hail damage, all discounted thousands of dollars. Remember, at Victory Ford, our first price is better than their last. Victory Ford, where the deals are always legendary.
It's that time of year. Fire up the grill and get your backyard groove on. It's Hy-Vee's good old-fashioned meat sale. Save big with rolled back prices on springtime favorites like KC strips, boneless chicken breasts, special recipe brats, and top loin pork chops. Purchase a spring grilling bundle to earn a $1 per gallon discount with your Fuel Saver card. These crazy low prices will get you in the groove. Hustle in for big savings at the good old-fashioned meat sale this Friday through Sunday at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Kling. Do you have an upcoming graduate in your life? There's a lot of things on that plate. Just trying to figure out what's next. Who to invite to the party. I'm going to take one thing, though, off this plate. It is the graduation catering. Leave that to my friends from Hy-Vee. Not sure what to get? Well, here's a perfect idea for you. Don't miss Hy-Vee's graduation party open house. It's Saturday, April 6th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all the amazing graduation day options or just get a little inspiration. Graduation season or any season, I got your place. It's only at Hy-Vee.
When you're getting ready to buy or sell a home, you want a real estate agent you can trust, and that agent is Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Dawn and her team are on the cutting edge of all the latest and greatest ideas in the real estate industry today. That's why if I had to sell my home, Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team are the only agents I would trust. But don't just take my word for it. They have over 100 five-star reviews on Google and sold 120 homes last year alone. So Google Sharp Homes team or check them out at homesforsale.kc.com.
Hey, it's almost Andy Reid. You know I love our hometown team singing in the opera and eating incredible KC barbecue. I also love knowing that I have the best garage door in KC, a Renner garage door. Renner's, the leader in Delding garage doors and smart LiftMaster openers, founded in 1956 and still locally owned and operated. Take it from me, almost Andy Reid. Whether it's a repair, an upgrade, or a brand new installation, Renner has you covered. That's RENNER forward and back, RennerDoor.com. Renner, a touchdown every time.
And paid for by AG Marketing Group. Attention timeshare owners. If you need to get rid of your timeshare for any reason, please listen to the following message. Getting out of a timeshare commitment is not easy, and it takes time. But we specialize in helping consumers legally get rid of their expensive timeshares forever. Can't get the vacation dates that work for you? Maybe you felt taken advantage of or forced into the timeshare? Maybe you just can't continue to shoulder those monthly payments any longer. If you need to eliminate your timeshare commitment, then you need to take down this number, 800-858-0815. We will safely and legally get rid of your timeshare payments forever, all with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't continue to let your timeshare be a financial burden to you and your loved ones. Call us now at 800-858-0815. The call is free, the consultation is free. Call 800-858-0815. That's 800-858-0815. Again, 800-858-0815.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic, creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Come hang out with everyone from 610 Sports Radio on Thursday, April 25th at the Landing in Liberty as the Character Concerns podcast crew broadcasts live during the first round of the NFL Draft. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Coming up 1 hour from now, Nate Taylor from The Athletic going to join us in studio. A lot to get to with him. Stadium conversation, what he's hearing on the Chiefs side, what he thinks the future holds. Also, we will get into Rashee Rice and what that could mean for the rest of the offseason. And a little more on the running back conversation we haven't had in a couple days. We weren't on the air when the Clyde Edwards-Helaire news broke that he's back. J.K. Dobbins was in for a visit. He left without a deal. Was that just a leverage play against Clyde, or is there still a chance J.K. Dobbins could end up signing with the Chiefs? So we'll get to that. I also saw the guaranteed money is now out on the Lewis Reese Zamet deal because we said, okay, it's a 3-year deal with some guaranteed money, but how much is guaranteed?
Yeah.
And I believe it's a little over $200,000. So it's not you could very easily still be, it's a typical undrafted free agent, maybe practice
Here's
squad
a few
type of contract.
$100,000 to make sure you stay with us instead of someone else. Sure.
Yeah. Get you to move from across the pond to come here for a couple months and give it a go.
I'm even more convinced we messed up on the car. Someone says I work at a scrapyard. We would have just bought the car even after it was smashed. Although someone says car smashes happen every year at a fraternity in Rolla. Said his senior year, one of the cars exploded and caught fire.
You remember
Nobody was hurt.
You remember the part where I said 8 minutes ago that we might have legal here at the station might make us go through some things first.
That would be a problem.
I mean, how do you? Is that just you have to empty the gas tank first? Is there some known things when you're before?
Maybe. Although in fairness, when I drove my car there, I knew there was a pretty good chance to kind of buy a car that day. I drove it to the gas light turning on around the corner from the dealership yesterday. I didn't put it
So
in.
you left an
I
ounce
did
of
not
fuel.
leave any extra gas in that car.
Surprised Cody didn't siphon his own fuel out of the. Like, no, I didn't. That's just
That's my gas.
Cody's siphoning gas out of his old car.
My car gets 30 miles once the gas light turns on.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what they told me when I
Sure.
bought the car when I had 22,000 miles. It's probably good for like 21 miles or something now. They had 20 miles left on it. I'm sure they got gas at the thing. They'll be fine.
What else did you just rip out of the car real quick that you
There's
didn't tell
nothing
them?
else I ripped out of the car. I took my things out of the car. They asked if like the spare tire and all that stuff was there and the jack. I left all that stuff in there.
Yeah. Like, no, I'm taking the jack with me.
That's my jack now. I bought it. Years worth. We're aligned. I know how it works.
All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day. But let's talk some Royals a little bit because it centers around the stadium. But, the conversation we heard a ton leading up to it was what they did on the field, both Chiefs and Royals. Okay, the Chiefs are coming off back-to-back championships. The Royals signed Bobby Witt to an extension. They had an offseason in which they spent money. And that was always a thing that was discussed in relation to the vote as well. Clearly, it didn't matter. We all know that by now. They lost by 16 points. The question is, does this year now have any bearing, do you think? You're going to have a hard time convincing me that the on-the-field product is going to be the big swing for a future vote. You know what I mean?
I think way that they lost.
I think we learned through the process that, both the messaging was way off, the rollout was off. Obviously, the last-minute site change, even if it still, to me, wasn't all the Royals on that came from the city. All of that, much bigger deal than, did the team win 80 games or 65 games this year? That for some people, maybe.
But there were still people being like, they're losers.
But to me, the reason why that, at least in my opinion, doesn't matter as much as people made it out to be is if it was about performance, the Chiefs just came off back-to-back championships. You know what I mean? So I think, yes, if the campaign is done well and you're a winner, it probably maybe helps you have a larger margin. I don't think it's the deciding factor.
If they had lost by less, I think maybe. They lost by 16 points, and the Chiefs are defending Super Bowl champions. Matter of fact, back-to-back defending Super Bowl champions with 3 of them in the last 5 years. If winning was the thing that mattered the most to people in this vote, they would have let the Chiefs carry it. The problem I had said from the beginning was the same stuff, which is the Chiefs were carrying the winning end, and the Royals were carrying the good idea end as far as like the stadium was cool, but in the wrong area, and they were like they were a bad match. That's why we had said, and I think we were looking at it like that's why they have to separate. That's why Mayor Lucas on Dana and Parks yesterday said they have to separate. It makes sense now that they would go forward alone, where you take. That's why I was asking about the winning too. Is if they go alone, then they don't get to ride the back of the Chiefs winning anymore. It's their plan. And what have you been doing lately? Oh, you won a Super Bowl, you won a World Series about 9 years ago. So we got that. And where's it? And you paid Bobby Witt. That was cool. Now how close it is. I don't think it's a big swing.
Yeah,
but I also say I don't think it would hurt. I don't think if they were 70-70, 140 games into this thing, and they were ramping up for a November bout. I don't think they're going to be on the November one, but just for the hypothetical purposes, I don't think it'd hurt them. But I don't think it would be the reason why they lost either.
Yeah, to me, it means even less now than I thought it did, and a lot of people thought it did after the vote. Is it a 0? No, but it is ultimately going to be the plan, the location, the design, and making people feel probably even more a part of the process. And do you have those same hurdles? And I told you, I don't think it is all on the Royals and all on the Chiefs for it failing. They bear a huge chunk of it.
Sure.
But when you have plans changing, perhaps due to city leaders, when you have those at the county level also maybe not making it the smoothest process, there are so many people all the way around involved in that led to it ultimately failing the way it did. I just don't think the on-field product actually matters as much as we thought from a vote perspective for this. Like, if let's say the Royals approach Clay County, and I don't know if they will, say they go back to Clay County. The bigger concern there is, can the population of Clay County support a tax? And if they can, it's going to have to be, 1%, some people are saying? And there was a poll at one point in time that said over 60% of people in Clay County that were surveyed, I think it was, would not be in favor of that. That's the bigger problem than, did the Royals win 90 games this year, or did they win, I'm just throwing out numbers, 60 games?
Look, I think if they won 60, there is like a negative impact of trying to push that thing through. I think a lot of it, and maybe it's a point swing, right? Maybe it's a 1-point swing or something like that. But it would be only in the case that they're really bad. If they just look competent. Like last year, they didn't look competent. This year, right now, and I know they're 2-4, they look competent, right? Other than the bullpen, the team has actually played and done some things well this offseason where it looks like some of their plans are starting to maybe come together a little bit. They still require a bullpen to not blow leads so that they can get more wins, fine. But they do look like they're a more polished product on the field this time. You can't be, I do think it's hard if you're a laughing stock, you know?
Sure.
Like, I don't think you can be the 2002.
I mean, they are coming off a 56-win season.
Sure. But I don't think you can be like a 3-year stretch, right? You can't be the 2004, 5, 6 Royals. So you can't be a 56-win team last year, a 58-win team this year, and be like, hey, can we have a new stadium, please? Like, I do think that there's an extreme limit to that. But just as long as you aren't, like, really bad, which I don't think they are, I think the Royals I actually think the Royals have some talent. I do not think the division is unbeatable. I am frustrated because the Royals felt like they let some games get away here in the early going, but it is 6 games. They look far more competent. Like, by this time last year, you know, there were already some signs to be like, is any of this going to work?
Well, they didn't score a run the first 3 games or whatever it was last year. Eventually, I mean, the wins have to start coming. We can't,
Sure.
you know, for forever.
You and I can blame them away 6 games into it, but not much longer.
Yeah, at some point, they are who they are, but it's very disappointing just because they've actually played really well, and the results just haven't been there yet. And to me, this series is a perfect series for those results to show up. You're going up against the Chicago White Sox, and if you play the way for the most part you have so far, these games should be very winnable throughout the entire series.
Are the White Sox the worst team in baseball?
I think they have a chance to end up being the worst. I mean, the
Marlins are 0-7.
Yeah, I saw an article yesterday from Ken Rosenthal, and it said Marlins might be sellers sooner than we think. I'm like, dude, we're 6 games into the damn season. It's April 3rd.
Oh my God! If that headline exists about the Royals, I would be depressed. Yeah. Royals might be sellers sooner than you think, and they're 7 games into the season. Whoa.
Yeah, that was so. Ken Rosenthal was about the Marlins. What was the exact? I quote tweeted yesterday, and I was like, it's April 3rd. Let's see. Yeah, Ken Rosenthal over at The Athletic had a story that says why the winless Marlins could be on the path to becoming sellers sooner than expected. And I like this is April 3rd, man.
That might, honest to God, that might be a new record.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just the like, hey, they're going to be sellers at some point, and we know that, but like to declare it after watching
6 games, 7 games.
The White Sox have no, like, you know what he's talking about? Like the Royals' biggest problem, like most teams' biggest problems when they're not good in baseball is pitching. The White Sox have no pitching. None. 0. They can't pitch. Like, I mean, they don't have starting pitching. Their relievers are bad. They can't pitch. Top to bottom. It's real ugly. And I know you've got one White Sox on your fantasy baseball team, but don't you have Luis Robert? I believe I heard you say that earlier.
I do. We are off to nobody wants to hear about my fantasy baseball team, but I'll just say this. We are off to a horrific start.
Ooh, man. Tough, huh?
Horrific. It's a long season, man. It's a long season. It's a long season.
Do you think you're more like the Royals in the 2-4 department, or you're more like the Marlins and it's like everything's going wrong and maybe this team stinks?
I'm leaning more towards the Marlins.
Oh, no.
I've got the names. Like, look, Julio Rodriguez off to a bad start.
Okay,
he'll be all right.
Come back around.
But it's not to get too detailed with it, but basically, you do head-to-head categories. So, like, you get a win if you finish with more runs that week off of your team, or if your team had more wins from your pitching staff or your ERA, all that. And Week 1, second worst out of a 14-team league, and so far, I had a bunch of guys rained out yesterday, but so far for this week, we're 0-9-1.
You got some 0-9-1?
Mm-hmm.
You got some double headers today?
I do.
Got some double dips?
I do. The team, I thought we put together a good roster, and it has not been good so far.
This is not a
tough to be a first-year GM,
This isn't a dynasty league,
I haven't been
correct?
one in 4 years,
This isn't a dynasty league, right? It's a 1 year.
It's a 1 year league, and it's
I was going to say you could sell well ahead, I guess, but
not been great.
Have you guys ever done a dynasty fantasy league, by the way?
No.
Mm-hmm.
You've done one?
For baseball?
Well, I guess in general, but
both.
Sure.
Yes. Like 100% you own the entire roster?
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah.
It's,
was it more fun, or is it more fun, do you think? Because you can trade, picks.
It's more like being a GM. It's probably like if, honest to God, you'd probably like it if you even enjoyed for 10 minutes that NFL head coach game from EA Sports. If you like that game for even 10 minutes, you'd probably like a dynasty sports league. Complete control.
Yeah.
Do whatever the hell you want.
No, it's been rough. I'll be honest. I was in a league with Kansas City people, which is great. The problem with that in this fantasy baseball league is
went high, huh?
players I wanted, I wasn't going to overdraft.
That's the way it always goes.
I wanted Cole Reagans, but someone drafted him in like the 3rd round, which if he ends up having a Cy Young year, then it's a great pick, but he's probably not worth, you probably shouldn't draft him in the 3rd round. If I was in any other city,
he's probably not the 30th best player in fantasy.
So anyway, so there was some over drafting there, but whatever. It's not been good to start out. We got money on the line too. It's not good.
Oh man, that makes it worse.
It was not a lot. It was $50 buy-in. It's nothing crazy.
But enough.
Some of our listeners might be in it because I just sent out a tweet the night before the draft. I was like, hey, who wants to join it? And people randomly. We could have had a 30-person league. I mean, plenty of people were interested in doing it.
People like to gamble.
We shall see how that goes.
That's one thing I know about people. It's that they like to gamble. Nate Taylor's going to join us coming up at noon in studio. So we can talk about Rashee Rice and we can talk about the stadium stuff, which has got a new article up at The Athletic. One of the articles I saw over at Bleacher Report had my interest a little bit because with the Rashee Rice stuff, at least in limbo for now, we don't know how the legal process will play out. Right after that, guess what all came out? Oh, a link of the teams who are rumored to be interested in Tyler Boyd. And do they include the Chiefs? Of course they include the Chiefs, the 49ers, and some other teams, but the Chiefs are mentioned in that. Now that Rashee Rice could miss, we don't know, but like the suspension is at least plausible, and I wanted a safety net at veteran anyway. Is Tyler Boyd not the perfect fit for this roster right now to just give you all the security in the world? You need Tyler Boyd to be the 3rd best wide receiver on the team. That's it. You're asking so little of him, and he'll be paid so little because veteran wide receivers of his age with limited upside are only going to make so much anyway. We're going to pay him $10 million to be the perfect fit for Patrick Mahomes? I'm having a hard time seeing a wide receiver that wouldn't fit better than him right now.
10 mil for 1 year?
Another 1 year
deal? What do you think he'll get? Something like that?
I think he was offered 2 for 10, correct?
Yeah, the report out of Pittsburgh was they offered him 2 years, 10 mil.
Total?
And he walked.
Ooh, yeah. Well.
And so he thinks
Maybe 1 for 8.
He thinks there's better, there's more money out there. Now, the luxury we always talk about with the Chiefs is, I'm not saying they could offer him 2 for 10 and he would sign, but there's more flexibility when you're the Chiefs and Mahomes is throwing you the football. If you're Tyler Boyd, if you're trying to, who, by the way, he is 29 years old, he'll be 30 in November. So I don't know if there's ever a huge payday still coming for him, given his age. But if you're wanting a multi-year deal after this year, you come to Kansas City on a 1-year deal. Does that deal exist if you have a big season? No, I would love Tyler Boyd as the 3rd receiver. You got Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Tyler Boyd, plus whoever you draft, plus Sky Moore and Justin Watson. I absolutely would love that.
You totally
knowing that 2 of them are on 1-year deals, though, in this hypothetical, and Boyd and Hollywood Brown. But that's why you draft a wide receiver or 2. But for this year, when you're trying for the 3-peat, it'd be a great 3rd option. Or really, he'd probably end up being your 4th or 5th option in the offense, but he'd be your 3rd wide receiver.
Yeah, that's why it's perfect. It just gives you a safety net. Look, in the best case scenario, you take a wide receiver in the 2nd round anyway, and he outperforms Tyler Boyd, and all of a sudden Tyler Boyd's your 4th wide receiver? Or Hollywood goes out for a little bit, and you miss a little bit of time. It's hard to imagine that there's a scenario in which this doesn't provide you every conceivable safety net out of your wide receiver unit, which is the exact opposite of last year. One guy misperformed last year, and the whole wide receiver unit just crumbled upon itself.
Does he drop the football, Drew? That's what we need to know. Can he catch the football?
Yes. He, other than the game against Houston last year, he had a right in the breadbasket drop. He catches 9 out of 10 passes every single year that you throw him, and he's the most reliable. I called him Mr. Reliable because 3rd down and 5, guess who got the ball? Tyler Boyd a lot, and he would catch it all the time. That would be one way. I think Bengals fans, too, by the way, would rather him go to Pittsburgh than go to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll be totally honest.
You'd rather him go to Pittsburgh.
I think that's the consensus.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that held your face underwater for 30 years?
Oh, because you don't want Tyler Boyd in the playoffs.
That is the consensus.
Roasting you guys.
I do not want to see Tyler Boyd in a Chiefs uniform. I think that's what. But look, for the Chiefs, as you guys said, it's a complete home run because you revamp your room, you draft the wide receiver. He's a good veteran presence to have in the room anyways. He would be the oldest guy by, 4 years in the room? Hollywood's, 27?
How old's
26?
Justin Watson? I don't know. But, yeah, the point being, I get what you're saying.
A guy that's been there, done that, had a 1,000-yard season. He'd be a perfect guy to have in any wide receiver room.
Last year, Tyler Boyd, 67 catches, 98 targets, 667 yards. Obviously, from your 3rd receiver, no problem. Again, you can take 600 yards, 550 from your third wide receiver. That's not an issue at all.
That was wide receiver 1 for them last year, practically. I know it wasn't because Rashee Rice eventually stepped up.
And knock on wood, he has been very durable over the course of his career. Hasn't had very many problems.
Yeah. Someone says true. For Tyler Boyd, get signed to a quarterback that's not going to hold you back. I agree. It's true. That's what it's been. You don't want a quarterback holding you back. You don't want to have a backup quarterback throwing you the football all year. I get it.
Joe
you want a starter.
Joe's been Instagram posting a little bit. Locked in.
Sure. Good for him, man.
I cannot wait until they come here and play. I'm so excited. I hope that he's healthy.
I know. The regular season will be the
fun.
Super Bowl for you Cincinnati fans.
No, I know. It's a Super Bowl for the Raiders and for
I've told you,
Bengals.
when it comes to...
He's accepting reality, hoping he's healthy.
Not
even knowing he will be.
The Bills playing the Chiefs in the regular season and winning is the Super Bowl. If the Bengals win, it doesn't matter because they've won in the playoffs, so it doesn't matter as much.
Because I'm going to say the Chiefs could lose to the Bills and Cincinnati in the regular season this year. I don't care.
Sure. And the Bengals could lose to the Chiefs, but then beat them in the playoffs. It doesn't matter.
That one time, yeah. And it equated to no rings.
Hey, you know what? Anytime
let's get to the trash of the day, Drew.
Okay.
Trash of the day.
He was ready to do battle with you.
I know he was. It was time to move on. I had a different trash of the day, but I there's a new addition this morning. Last night I had something food related. We can do that tomorrow.
It wasn't the Orlovsky fart.
Yeah, it was not that. It was not that. No, this has to do with the Masters, which is coming up next week in Augusta. And it's a story from TMZ. I'll just read you the headline and we'll go from there. Tiger Woods. No sex during Masters prep. ... Friend says. Is that the key? Is this the problem?
Could argue it's the opposite.
One of the golfing legend's buddies made the revelation to the New York Post this week, telling the outlet that Tiger is training for Augusta like a madman. Quote, he's working really hard in the gym. He's eating right. He's even eliminated sex.
Okay, so I'll be honest.
Is that a good thing for Tiger?
Huge mistake for Tiger. When Tiger was at his best, he's picking up Perkins waitresses in between rounds. Are you kidding me? Tiger was at his peak golf ability when he was maximum sex addict. Now, he's also younger, so it's probably a little bit different. But I'm just saying, sex didn't seem to be the problem with golf performance for Tiger. I'm not sure that those things are related. Unless it's an age thing.
Yeah, but he's got back problems now. You need to make sure the back is in good shape.
That's right.
His spine is fused.
You need to loosen it up.
He had the spinal fusion surgery or whatever
Couldn't
it is.
He just take it easier?
Well, sure, but one way to prevent, he wants to make sure he's got to be able to walk the course for all 3 rounds. For all 4 rounds, he's got to be able to do that.
That's been his biggest problem. It's not even swing. It's not even playing. I mean, it's been surviving and being able to walk all 72.
Yeah, by the time he gets to Saturday, he's struggling to walk. Keep the back right, He knows what he's doing. I trust it. I trust his approach.
Yeah, but
that Perkins waitress will be there again, Cody. Don't worry.
Look,
after
I'm not
the
saying
round.
Tiger Woods can't have sex after the Masters. That's obviously the case. But what I'm saying is prime Tiger. That's like saying, Tiger's not going to wear red on Sunday. He'd like to take it. No, prime Tiger does all those things.
Right.
He wears red on Sundays.
Right. Look, I don't golf, okay? So I'm not the right person to ask, but I'll ask you, Drew. You're a big golfer.
Yes.
You golf probably the most out of the 3 of us.
Probably.
Right? Okay. And you went to the driving range earlier in the week. You tell me, Mr. Golf Expert, do you drive the ball better after sex? Or do you drive the ball worse when you haven't had sex in a while? You tell us. You're the golf expert. Clear head.
I feel don't you want a clear head?
I think it depends on the amount of stress. It depends on what stress level you're dealing with. Because
he's going to the Masters. Probably pretty stressful.
Because to me, I haven't noticed necessarily any uptick in performance, I guess.
Okay.
You don't seem like an overly stressed person, though.
Yeah,
you seem like most things just roll off your back.
I try to be that way. I try to be as calm as possible. I don't know. I think that for Tiger, this is the thing. He's always been in the gym. He's been that way for the last 5 or 6 years that he's been able to play a little bit more often, and it hasn't really mattered. So I think he should go back to the roots, if you will, and try to go back to that Tiger Woods.
Dude, he was still winning Masters when he was doing marine training or whatever when he hurt his back the first time. Tiger's an intense guy. You got to let him be maximum level. Now, maybe this is the same version.
In order for him to get to peak performance at the age that he is, maybe he doesn't need to do that. Maybe he just...
The way he's golfing now, he may... But that might... By Saturday night or by Friday night, Saturday morning, he might be able to end this thing anyway. I hope he makes the cut, but I'm not so sure.
So are you saying in order for maybe he could switch it up? He starts by not having any sex early on, and then to make sure he lasts the full 72, he has sex after if he makes the cut
after each round.
After he makes the cut,
I think he's a little worn out after each round, Drew.
If he makes the cut,
she's gonna do all the work.
If he makes the cut, have sex before the weekend and just see where it takes you.
Before the weekend, but if he makes the cut, then he feels like what he's doing
It's
is
working. Correct.
He's not even guaranteed to make the cut.
Yeah, but okay, so you're saying after Thursday, if he goes even round one of the Masters, he has to have sex Thursday night in order to make sure he makes the cut.
I'm saying if it's working, then you.
By the way,
if
Tiger's, I'll be honest, if Tiger's even after round one, I think you
he
can
takes
sign up for right now,
Well,
man.
that's what he's done like 1 over, and then he's done 7 over, or had to withdraw in the second round.
So he's trying to keep the back right.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm rooting for him as much as anybody is.
Mm-hmm. I know you are.
I wonder what his odds are to win the Masters. That's got to be monumental.
Everybody always
monumental odds.
His odds are always not as good as they should be because people like to just.
Yeah, of course.
I can give you that answer. Let's see. Tiger Woods over at ESPN Bet
70 to 1.
No, worse
More than that?
Yeah, 100 to 1.
Okay, I was gonna say. I was thinking maybe even worse than that.
By the time we get to Thursday, it might be down to 70 to 1.
Or, I'm sorry, not even 100 to 1. Yeah, $10 to win 1,000. Excuse me.
Oh, he's
holy cow. Okay.
All right, so we say we're going to put a golf card together next week. Will we put $5 on Tiger to win it?
No, I'm not putting.
Absolutely
I will not advise
$5 Tiger to win it.
Absolutely not.
No,
that's a zero.
Absolutely not.
Can you imagine? If
I might be
actually
interested
did?
in. I might be interested in a to make the cut bet.
Okay,
something
That'd be a
like
good
that
one.
for Tiger. I think that would be fine. Text line: Mick told Rocky, "Women weaken legs." Yeah,
that was an old school mindset.
That's
You know,
trash of the day. Text line. Okay. All right.
Relax.
Come on
Settle
now.
down.
Yeah. Calm down, text line. Calm down.
I also just don't think that's how science works.
Yeah. Some of you are getting very descriptive with your text. Thank you for that. Up next, let's get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Let's get back into one thing that we're going to start seeing more, and I hate it. That's next.
Hey, it's Brady Singer. You're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
None of us are saying that anybody needs to change careers on the diamond yet. We're not that far, but you can change your career in as little as 4 months in the absolute perfect industry, IT.
Yeah, Centric has a structured, hands-on learning approach. It doesn't just prepare you for a job, but for lasting success in your IT career. And one thing we continue to tell you about is how flexible they are with your schedule. So you've got a full-time job right now, but as Cody was saying, maybe you just want something new. You want a new path, more stability, some better pay. They've got classes that are both a hybrid model, in-person, online only, evening, daytime. It doesn't matter. They will work with you.
Russ Mondry's been working with students like you for 20 years in this city. He is the person who you will directly talk to when you go to centric.com/610. You can make IT your future by looking at what Centric has to offer in exactly those, and with how many local companies they work with. GI Bill, Sally Mae, they can work with your needs to make sure that Centric is the perfect fit. Go to centric.com/610.
Bowling Warehouse has taken over KC with a mashup of football, bowling, drinks, and fun. And with 3 15-foot televisions in the hottest bar in town, there's absolutely no better place for watch parties, get-togethers, and happy hours. And what could be better than splashing down pins at your next business event or private party? Plus, Bowling Warehouse KC is convenient for everyone off 435 and State Line. Whether it's a fun night out or a way for your organization to unwind, make your reservation now at FollingWarehouseKC.com. It's time to fool around and find out.
Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Another year, another Super Bowl. Did you know that the Chiefs won their Super Bowl in their first year of their partnership with Window World? And here we are, 5 years in. The Chiefs are a dynasty, and they're still going strong with Window World as the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Window World windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. In just over 20 years of business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 customers right here in Kansas City. So be sure to call this number, 816-799-0820. Learn more about the double-strength glass that gives it strength. It's not commonly used in replacement windows. Learn more about their products that are not only durable, but offer security, beauty, and energy efficiency. Give my friends at Window World a call. That's 816-799-0820. 816-799-0820 to learn more, or also go on the website, windowworld.com.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler.com.
Bet the NBA with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel every Thursday with TNT Thursdays. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get bonus bets back if your same-game parlay doesn't win on any NBA on TNT game. NBA same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. However you want to play, just head to FanDuel.com/610Bob to bet the NBA with a no-sweat same-game parlay with TNT Thursdays. That's FanDuel.com/610Bob. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA and of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Dusty Ligens here. Come to Smithville Ford, previously Dave Littleton Ford, this Saturday, April 6th from noon to 2 p.m. to get your free autograph with world champion linebacker Nick Bolton. We'll be giving away a Nick Bolton jersey at 1 p.m., so make sure you come out and register for the drawing this Saturday at Smithville Ford.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment decision.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
As an educator, Mr. Nelson's teachings are still being quoted in schools.
Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world.
Mr. Nelson taught hope.
Everyone can rise above their circumstances if they are dedicated and passionate.
And giving our best efforts.
It's always impossible until it's done.
Mr. Nelson Mandela's teachings not only united a nation, they inspire us today. Inspiration. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through April 23rd, get a $15 gift card when you buy 5 or more quarts of Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Claim based on Sequence 3H test versus API SP test limits.
Hi, Discover. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I'm so glad I can talk to you 24/7.
How can I help?
I bought these yellow pleather pajamas, and I don't think I'm pulling them off.
Discover 24/7 U.S.-based customer service. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
During the break, Drew asked Cody and I a question that I was not expecting.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know it was taking place.
I didn't know what was going on.
I didn't
He
know
said,
it
hey,
was either.
guys, you watching the college dunk contest tonight?
Woo!
I had no idea.
Can't be much worse than the NBA one was.
True. The only thing you could maybe convince me is the college three-point contest. And you're like, why that? Golke. That would be the only, just to see if he can just.
Let me see. I don't even know if he's participating. I feel like he'd have to.
If he's participating, you might get me to check in for a second. Otherwise, dunk contest, college, no. Final Four obviously is this weekend. You see the stuff about UConn? They're playing at Atlanta till 3:15 in the morning.
I did see that.
Yeah, and Kansas City was involved.
Somehow we were holding things up.
There was a plane that they needed for the charter that was still in Kansas City, and I guess it didn't leave on time or was getting repaired.
For the union stuff, they couldn't fly for a while. They had to go take a nap.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't do anything. Get a different plane. I don't know.
Yeah, and then it's Chiefs related, so that transition us into the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Carson Wentz officially signed today, like as in he's in Kansas City. And so the Chiefs' Twitter account.
Golke is in the
Oh.
contest.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Who else is in? Tell me later.
Boo Booey is in there.
Okay.
Kasetomi Naga.
Golke's in there.
Golke, that's who it came.
The Chiefs' Twitter account announcing that he's in town.
Okay.
It's Thursday, they tweeted, but it feels like Wednesday.
Look.
You get it, Cody? You get it? It's Thursday, but it feels like Wednesday.
I thought about booing again, but we already had the
We
drop.
do. That is from the Chiefs' Twitter account.
I think.
I just don't think you get it, man. I just don't think you get the joke, you know?
Let's call this the compliment sandwich. I think the Chiefs' Twitter account and social media accounts do a really nice job overall. Love their work. Think they do a great job promoting the team with some really creative content. That one's a miss. Delete it. It stinks. That's a bad one. You laid an egg. It's all right. It happens. Kick ass tomorrow. Get some better tweets fired off then. Back to the drawing board on that one. He's a backup quarterback on a 1-year deal, and we're out here making Wednesday jokes? No.
They did.
No.
They did.
No.
Yeah,
Not
Carson Wentz officially signed.
Wednesday. Now that's what people are going to tweet when he comes in as a backup in Week 18, isn't it?
It's Wednesday.
Because they used to say anytime, right? Now they're going to say Wednesday.
And some people in Philly, I think, said too.
I don't like it. I'm just going to say it. I think we should, as a show or as a group, as a society, come up with something different.
I'll tell you what I don't like, and I know we're going to see more of this, and it's the reality now that it's kind of open season on our sports teams a little bit, and I still think they're both going to stay in the KC region. But the story out of Dallas yesterday, the damn mayor of Dallas out here flirting with our Chiefs. And
That did not take long. That was under a day?
So Eric Johnson is the Dallas mayor, and in response to the stadium vote failing, he says North Texas can support a second NFL team, quote, especially a franchise and owner with deep roots here. They're not going to Dallas for a variety of reasons. One, I don't think the team is leaving the region. The other part is I don't think Jerry Jones would allow another team in Dallas. So that's a whole – it's not even so much Dallas. It's the fact that we're going to see this kind of crap a lot more now until there are solid plans of what the future holds for, well, both franchises, but specifically we're talking about the Chiefs right now. And that's what sucks, man. I hate it. Like, I don't like seeing it. Nobody – I mean, I am not worried yet. To me, we're another vote failing away from that. But – I just hate this because there will be another mayor or another story.
There'll be 10 other mayors. It's always mayors. Occasionally governors, they're usually a little less gregarious about it. Don't you remember the jabroni mayor who said, mayors say stupid things
Cincinnati's
sometimes.
mayor.
Yeah,
the biggest of all idiots.
That's Drew's guy.
Yeah, he definitely
He's not my guy.
He's not my guy. He's not standing behind the Cincinnati mayor. No, I think it's going to become really common practice. This is the thing we had mentioned for the elections have consequences part. It doesn't mean that the teams are leaving it. You and I made that very clear. We don't think that's going to happen right now. I'm not even going to I'm not going to spend time regularly talking about these out-of-town mayors threatening with it. Because part of it is, does anyone realize how expensive it is to change cities?
Oh, the relocation fees.
It's insane. It can be for baseball, maybe $500 or $600 million. And for football, presumably based on the last time Stan Kroenke did it, I'm going to guess inflation would hit you for $1 billion. So unless someone's going to give you a free, and I do mean a city, is going to give you a free $1 billion stadium in a major metropolitan area that isn't Kansas City, Chiefs aren't going anywhere. I think they are the least likely to move by
I agree.
By a mile.
Between the two.
And I don't think the
agree.
Royals are likely to leave.
Yeah, and John Sherman has KC roots and ties. It's a KC ownership group. Both teams, to me, are staying in the KC region, and they have some options in the KC region. Thank goodness we are dealing with our city being in the state line. If we were in another circumstance,
I'd be more worried about it if we were in a different circumstance.
Yeah, but you have the ability to now look for offers, yes, still in Jackson County for sure, Clay County, but on the Kansas side, Wyandotte, Johnson. That's why I'm confident that both teams aren't going anywhere versus some other markets that have lost their teams.
Any chance Kansas does the bi-county thing where the new practice facility ends up in Johnson and the stadium ends up in Wyandotte, and they split the price to kind of make, because if you combine those two, it's actually bigger than Jackson County on its own from a population standpoint. You might be able to get closer to that number that you're looking at. I'm just asking, spitballing here.
Yeah, I think everything's on the table. We know the state of Kansas has an ability to do star bonds that Missouri doesn't, and there's been a lot of noise already about that, and they've used it on other projects, and the state obviously used it for the Kansas Speedway as well, and that's something that Missouri doesn't have. I think it's also interesting on the state of Missouri side, part of the thought of why things were maybe rushed for the April ballot was because the Chiefs' relationship with Governor Parsons in Missouri, that he's out of office in January, I believe. I think
and they thought, hey, we're going to get the state money because he likes us.
Yeah. And so what's there's some uncertainty there as well.
Depends on who gets elected governor. They might have a good relation with that person too.
Yeah.
There's other ways to work it, but it costs a lot to relocate. That's what and look, I'm not going to go as far to call it all fear mongering, because I don't think that there's a 0.00% chance a team would never leave here, because sometimes that does occur in sports. I think these are two unique circumstances that are not the same as those, and I think the ownership groups involved should tell you a little bit of something. And the cities they're in versus the cities that are available. But they do still have to start making some progress toward these things. But moving is expensive. It's more expensive, or as expensive as the amount of money they're asking for. And look, maybe they would just do it out of spite. But if I were the Royals, for instance, it was going to cost me $600 million to relocate. And I was going to have to find a brand new fan base in this new city versus the established fan base I have here. Damn, I'd almost rather just eat the money to build my own stadium. I got to be honest. It would almost be worth it to me than cutting that check. And look, that's me versus what John Sherman, but I also think he's made it very clear he wants to be in Kansas City. I think maybe that hurt him in the Jackson County voters, like a lot of things did, but I still think just the disorganization and the rollout and everything that happened in between was the bigger problem.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. There wasn't one particular thing. There was, when you lose by that margin, there's a lot of different things that are going on. But yeah, I saw that out of Dallas. I'm sure most of you did too. And
they can't help
I was just I just hated that because it won't be the last time we see it, but you knew that was coming. And it just opens the door for even that to be out there. And that's what sucks. And it'll continue to be out there until there is a solid plan of what each franchise is going for and when the next vote is going to be, and the timeline and all of that's all completely up in the air. And there's going to be continued noise about who's having closed behind the scenes closed door meetings with who and things like that. That stuff's going to continue or has already started, as a matter of fact, for at least in this for this region, fortunately. But that kind of stuff is already going on.
Yeah, like the people who are saying, well, they're already having conversations in Kansas. I'm sure they are. They're probably having them before this vote. What do you think? Kansas essentially didn't get told, no, we'd never come to you. The Chiefs and the Royals essentially just told the state of Kansas, hey, chill for a minute. We're doing this thing with Jackson County. We're going to see how this thing goes, and then we'll get back to you in just a second. And now that this thing has failed, they're obviously going to have very serious conversations.
On the field, we didn't get a chance to talk about this because it's been busy early part of the week, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back with the Chiefs.
Yeah, we had a weird show yesterday, and then other stuff happened, so yeah.
So he's back, and why it's interesting, two things. One, I think a lot of people, after the Super Bowl against Philadelphia, thought it was the end because he didn't show up to the parade, and people just thought, maybe they're just going to trade him before training camp and all that. And I've always said I think the whole not showing up to the parade thing was the most overblown thing that did not really matter, and to me, it clearly doesn't matter because he just signed another contract with the Chiefs. But he ended up being a great teammate and has always been a great teammate. And then you looked at the available running backs that were out there, and it's not the worst thing whatsoever. I wanted J.K. Dobbins, who was in Kansas City the day that they signed Clyde.
Boy, that felt like a
leverage.
Clyde.
It was leverage.
Clyde, you better sign.
It was leverage.
Who called it that? Chase Daniel straight up called it that. Yeah, his own story.
It seems like there was some leverage there. Now, J.K. Dobbins, I don't think it's a 0% chance that he signs with the Chiefs. It feels like if he's signing, it's definitely going to be later in the offseason, as in after the draft, closer to May, June type of situation to see. Remember, he left the Chargers without a contract. He left Kansas City without a contract. So whether that was, financial reasons or otherwise, it's not as if he's signed with anywhere yet. He's still an option. I still think if you told me he came in to compete and dollar amount's not going to be crazy, I'd be very interested still. Having Clyde back as my number 2 back, I'm good with that, but I still think you got to look for another running back.
What was it, like 3 weeks ago I said Clyde would be fine?
I know you did.
I know. Look, you were right on the veteran backup while I was gone. They brought in Carson Wentz. So I didn't get my young backup. You got your veteran backup. Wasn't the guy you were looking for at the time, but it's fine. A veteran backup. Clyde's a perfect backup running back. He still was talented enough at some point to be a first-round back. He's obviously not. He wasn't that level of talented, but he's not bad when he's on the field either. He was.
I know, but his yards per carry, man, it's.
Yeah, but he had a little juice last year late in the season.
He did.
And I think a fresh Clyde, when he's not getting all the carries, knows the system, doesn't screw much up. Look, he does not blow the doors off, and he's never going to do that, and he never did that his time in Kansas City. He's a perfectly fine backup. What's not to like about this? The other part is, I do think it was leveraged, so I don't think they're going to bring in Dobbins. But what would stop him from doing that too?
Nothing. No, that's what I'm saying. It's not over.
The McKinnon-Clyde thing worked with Pacheco. Why couldn't Dobbins and Clyde and Pacheco work? Because if Dobbins beats out Clyde, good, right? I mean, and then you still have 2 running backs if something were to happen with Pacheco.
No, I think it could work. It would work. The thought now, I think you got to wait till after the draft, because if you're going to have Pacheco and Clyde and then a third back, well, see what the draft brings. I know nobody's really talking much about running backs this year's draft because it seems like it's a weaker draft for that. But if you find a guy in the 6th round that you like, or is there an undrafted guy that you like, and you're like, well, we don't need to sign Dobbins. Now, maybe you get through the draft and you didn't get the guy you wanted, or it just didn't work out. Maybe that's when you circle back to J.K. Dobbins.
Available in July and August all the damn time.
My guess is the Chargers probably approached it the same way. It's not like he went to the Chiefs, didn't sign, and then he signed somewhere the next day. He still hasn't signed, and he did sign with the team he first checked with. So, and that team he had familiarity with because his former OC's in L.A.
Makes me wonder about how far that knee is. I understand like a social media video be like, back to normal. I mean, he's had like 4 visits, and nobody's just giving him. And maybe he's still looking for one more bag. We don't know.
Yeah,
or one bag, I guess. I don't even know if he got one.
Rookie.
But he was a first-round pick. He was a pretty high pick, so he got more money than most rookie running backs. Like, more than Pacheco ever made. Was he a first-round pick?
I don't know when he was drafted. I don't remember at all.
He might. If he was late, like in the 20s, with the Ravens.
I think he was a first or second-round pick.
Oh, definitely top 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Second round. There you go. Second round.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I think the consensus too with the draft is that there's not many, if at all, any guys who are like a go-to starter day one, but there's a lot of guys who are good spellbacks, like out of the backfield receiving.
Yeah.
Jalen Wright's one of them out of Tennessee, I think, for example. The guy's like 4.3 speed. He's big dude, can catch, did really well at Tennessee. I think
honestly,
those are the guys that the Chiefs would look to draft probably 4th, 5th, 6th round. Cody Schrader, of course, is a fan favorite.
We get that text every day.
Yeah, every single day.
The thing they're missing is a burner. Like a guy who just like, he only got 3 carries today, but one accidentally, oopsie, went for 50. You know, and those don't happen all the time, but like twice a year, that guy just comes in and is a burner. They're not looking for a guy to step in and block somebody on 3rd down, block up, chip a line. No, they're just looking for a guy who, for the 3 carries he gets a game, can either do that or be a red zone threat like Jerick McKinnon was. Look, you might, that's how Keaton Mitchell started. And then they had running back injuries, and all of a sudden they were relying on Keaton Mitchell to be a star, which can happen at running back all the time, too.
Yeah, and I don't know what, after the Achilles and ACL, I don't know what. I don't know the 40 time of J.K. Dobbins now.
Anymore. It was fast when he was coming
out of college. That was a big reason why he got drafted in the 2nd round by the Ravens. So we'll see. We'll talk to Nate Taylor more about that, too. Nate Taylor from The Athletic going to join us in 10 minutes. Thinking of Clyde, I did see his tweet today, and I don't know if either of you have experienced this. Clyde sent out a tweet. It says, that, quote, laughing gas at the dentist is, all caps, dangerous. I just walked out of here, no shoes, tripping. Have either of you had the laughing gas at the dentist? Did you have your wisdom teeth pulled?
No, but I have, look, I've been under anesthesia a number of times for surgery, and it is
that dentist laughing gas I've always heard, though, is a whole different animal. And
extra powerful?
I haven't been in that spot. I still have my wisdom teeth.
I have had laughing gas.
Okay.
I guess they like give you the laughing gas, so they put something over your mouth or whatever for you to breathe it in. It's got to be.
You've seen all the videos. We've all seen the videos.
It always just makes me think of Little Shop of Horrors and Steve Martin. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Sorry. You haven't seen? That's a pretty famous scene.
Oh, I'm not saying it's
he's
not
a
famous.
dentist and he's sucking on his own laughing gas. Nothing. Do you even know what Little Shop of Horrors is, Drew?
No. I know who Steve Martin is, though.
Your sisters were at least performers, so I'm assuming, Gold, that you were at least familiar with Little Shop of Horrors. Audrey 2, the giant talking plant that eats people.
Rick Moranis, I know the actor.
Rick Moranis. Yeah. Are you looking it up now?
Yeah, well, of course.
What, no one's seen this movie?
No, of course.
Text line back me up.
I haven't. Other people have. I'm sure plenty of people listening have.
He
but
probably
no,
doesn't even know who Rick Moranis is. He probably never even
he'd
heard
recognize him.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
He'd recognize him.
He probably doesn't even know what Ghostbusters is.
He would recognize him.
No, I know what both of those are.
He's only seen the new one. Just a Paul Rudd Ghostbusters for Drew. He's so young. Haven't even seen the classics.
If I saw Rick Moranis, I would probably know. I'm more of a face person than a name person. Yes.
No, we've all seen the videos go viral. You have the person that films their son or daughter or whatever who just got their wisdom teeth pulled with the laughing gas. And
I didn't have a weird experience afterwards. I was relatively calm, but you get knocked out and you're out in what seems like 30 seconds. Very strong. I was, at least to my knowledge, go ahead. My sister, on the other hand, was a little bit more helter-skelter with everything. You know, she was saying random stuff and talking to her. Yeah.
No, I've only...
Helter? You make it sound like she's like...
Yeah, damn.
Like in a padded room.
I've only been, under anesthesia. So laughing gas is a little different, but anesthesia one time. That was
I've been under anesthesia multiple times.
But the laughing gas thing I've always heard is a little bit different.
Someone says, Cody, Little Shop of Horrors is a classic. It's 32 years old. That movie was scary as hell as a kid. It's a giant human-eating plant. The original was much bleaker. Like the stage play is much bleaker. It is a good movie.
Looks like it's available on...
It's like Tubi or something.
So
it's just
movie came out in 92?
You can, Apple TV and Amazon Prime, $3.99. There you go.
New shows, $3.99? Oh, that would get you for free somewhere. That's an old-ass movie. Old movies should be free.
You think? Hold on, wait. So you think any movie that's old? Hold on. If it's 90s,
I think it should be on like Tubi or whatever those like free streaming apps are. You know?
So if it's 90s or older, you think it should just be free?
Mm-hmm. Well, if I want to watch The Lion King, you have to subscribe to Disney Plus. So I mean, it's costing you. I feel like all of that stuff costs. And Disney movies, you can go back to like the 50s and the 60s to find a lot of the classic ones.
From the 913, I'm an anesthesiologist. You can always tell which kids drink alcohol after they get their wisdom teeth removed because of how they react coming out of anesthesia.
That's interesting.
Now, the first time I got put under anesthesia was second grade because I had to have eye surgery to correct my then lazy eye. And because of the way the surgery works, you don't open your eyes for like a day.
Damn.
So like... Not only was I coming out of anesthesia at like 7 years old, I couldn't open my eyes. I was high. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mine was just I had to have surgery I broke a finger, and they had to put pins in, and so they obviously put me under for that. Otherwise, I haven't had to deal with that. Sometimes it's just on YouTube. You can just someone's sending now on Twitter the clip of the GIF of the scene you're talking about. I'm watching it. I can't hear it, but I'm watching the clip.
You're watching the clip of him
putting the laughing gas on. Yeah, at the dentist office, yes.
Great stuff, man. I thought maybe at least you would know the reference.
It came out in 1985 or 86, man. I was born in 91, I haven't seen every 80s movie.
I was born in 84, but I was 2. It's not like
that means by the time I was at the age where I could even know what was going on in the movie, it had already been out for a decade.
Someone says from 913, Cody's very defective. Lazy eye, lazy foot. I'm a broken human. I don't know what to tell you.
So it says, what happened to the finger that needed pins? Oh, it was one of the more embarrassing things. I think I've told the story on there.
Yeah, you got her playing flag football.
Yeah. I literally, sophomore year? Sophomore, junior year of high school, stupid PE class, playing flag football, caught a pass, all good. Go back, and then I just looked down, and all of a sudden my finger just started throbbing, and it was way out here. And it was a pinky, and nobody will be able to tell on the video stream, but one pinky, it's slightly kind of doesn't, it's not
like
straight
how this
up
one
and down.
broken, and it'll never stay the same
and
again.
It was broken enough, and I'll never forget, though, the nurse and at the high school was like, yeah, I'm not so sure if it's broken or not. It's just really swollen. And I go to the doctor, and they're like, yeah, it is clearly broken. And so I had to go see an orthopedic surgeon and get the pins and all that.
Get it all sorted out?
Good old elementary school nurse.
No, this was high school.
Oh, high school. Well, still.
Yeah.
Man, that shoe's like, I don't know.
That was embarrassing, man.
It's sideways.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, it was, dude. It was, yeah.
When I was in, one of the times I broke my arm when I was a kid. Yeah, that's right, text line. I've broken both arms. One of the times I broke my arm as a kid, we were in Colorado. And so the doctor that we first got to see, it's Colorado. So it was a DO, which is like, the guy wants to rub like herbal medicine on your elbow or whatever. The guy told me when I broke my arm, it was like an emergency room situation. I went in and he's like, no, it's okay. You did not break your arm. Your bone is bent. I was like, I don't think that's a thing. So he gave me that big like rookie of the year cast, right, where like connects to your chest and all stuff. It's bent. It'll be fine. I go back to the doctor for a checkup like a week later, back when I get into Kansas City, and he's like, bent. The guy told you it's bent. Bones don't bend. It's broken. You need a cast. I was like,
bone is
what? What am I
bent.
supposed to do? I'm just a kid. I'm supposed to know that my bone doesn't bend.
It's a bent bone.
That's what he claimed,
okay.
man.
Okay.
The guy was an idiot.
All right, coming up next, we get right back into the Chiefs. Also, the stadium conversation with Nate Taylor over at The Athletic. It's been a while since we had Nate in studio. We're looking forward to that next here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
On your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Bet the NBA with the no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel every Thursday with TNT Thursdays. It doesn't matter if you're new to the app or if you already have an account. You'll get bonus bets back if your same-game parlay doesn't win on any NBA on TNT game. The NBA same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at an even bigger payout. However you want to play, just head to FanDuel.com, use my promo code CDOT to bet the NBA with the no-sweat same-game parlay every TNT Thursdays. That's FanDuel.com/CDOT. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. Minimum 3-leg parlay required. Refund issued with novel drawable bonus specs that expires 7 days after retreat. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Low testosterone affects many men today, even men as young as 30. But finding someone you can trust for quality low T treatment isn't so easy. This is Jeff, the CEO of Promenic Restorative Men's Health, and that's why I'm pleased to announce the opening of our second location of Heartland Men's Health right here in Independence, Missouri. Because as a Promenic affiliate, Heartland Men's Health has the experience and expertise to get you the right treatment for your particular medical situation. Heartland Men's Health is a leader in treating low testosterone. In fact, we've successfully treated thousands of men for low T and seen the amazing impacts low T treatments have. If you're like most men, you'll sleep better, have more energy and improve mental clarity, get better gains in the gym, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 2 offices, Overland Park, Kansas, and our new office in Independence, Missouri.
What makes for a great vacation? Depends on who you ask. Are you looking to get away or bring everyone together? Do you want to get outside and play or see a play at the plate? Fortunately, however you operate, I'm the destination you've been looking for. The name's Missouri, but you can call me Mo. And I have just one question. What's your MO? Come see me at visitmo.com.
Kansas City, it's baseball season, Blue Fountain season, swing for the fences season.
It's out of here!
Caught 'em looking season. Flags out season, dollar hot dog season. The grass is so green here season. It's baseball season, and your Royals are out to make this season special. Come on out all season long. Welcome to the city. The Royals take on the Baltimore Orioles in a 3-game series starting Friday, April 19th. Tickets at Royals.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
We've all seen them. As soon as the big storm comes through, the storm-chasing roofers show up. Don't be a victim twice. Call locally owned, veteran-owned JR & Company. No one protects your home and you like JR.
JR's there for you. You're always better with a roof from JR.
In fact, JR & Company can let you know if you even need to be worried about storm damage. Online, visit jrhailcheck.com. Plug in your address and we'll pull a storm report. If there's nothing on the report, we'll give you hassle-free peace of mind. And if it looks like you got hit, we can come out and do a free inspection and help with any insurance claim. We'll never try to sell you a roof you don't need. But if you do need a new roof,
You're always better with a roof from JR.
go to jrhailcheck.com.
When you're getting ready to buy or sell a home, you want a real estate agent you can trust, and that agent is Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Dawn and her team are on the cutting edge of all the latest and greatest ideas in the real estate industry today. That's why if I had to sell my home, Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team are the only agents I would trust. But don't just take my word for it. They have over 100 five-star reviews on Google and sold 120 homes last year alone. So Google Sharp Homes team or check them out at homesforsaleandkc.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. We've helped over 30,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. At Wesley Financial Group, we're dedicated to helping timeshare owners get out of their financial nightmare. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free timeshare exit information kit. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Subscribe to the Character Concerns podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF-HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. It's been a while since we had this guy in the studio. So one of our
Why's
Chiefs
the porn
insiders.
music playing for Nate showing up?
True. That's Nate Taylor from The Athletic. Was that by design? Or you tried? I mean, earlier, Nate, we were talking about the story from the New York Post. I don't know if you've ever written a story about an athlete's sex life before, but the New York Post said that Tiger Woods, no sex to prepare for the Masters. No sex until after the Masters.
I said a mistake. He was at his best when he was having maximum sex.
Yeah, I guess it has to do more with the glutes, the hamstrings, and the back.
Well, the back, hey, he's got back problems. He can't be messing that back up.
Right. Again, I understand. I'm at least further along in my journey to understand where this man might be coming from. But now you gotta get a couple thrusts in, my guy. Like Tuesday is what you should circle on the calendar. You and your lady. Does he have a girlfriend?
So that's what we were just talking about.
Does he have a girlfriend?
I don't know if he's in a relationship.
We could fly somebody down easily.
I think he does.
Well, there might be an IHOP or Perkins nearby. What's that?
I think he does.
Okay.
Look, that lady from Perkins knew what the assignment was and was ready to go.
Everyone kept their mouths shut for a long time.
Don't ever forget, that lady of Perkins deserves
one green jacket as well.
Well, she deserves a wing in the Hall of Fame of side chicks. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
She knew what
she gets
was
one
up.
of his 76 trophies. Not the major ones, but she can have the Byron Nelson trophy.
I just have a lot of respect for her because she knew the assignment and was ready to go and rose to the occasion, one might add, too. Like, it's not like he has ever said anything poorly about that woman. So, elite side chick if we have to go that route. But I think Tuesday of the Masters is important, right? Because
Shout out to Mindy.
Mindy.
Incredible.
I had to look.
That's a great,
incredible name.
Mindy.
Oh.
She was a manager at the Perkins.
Hey,
management.
Step aside, Samantha.
She was
I got this one. I got this one.
Game, respect, game, by the way. Both at the top of their fields.
Exactly.
Manager.
Exactly.
Not hostess.
I ain't no hostess. I ain't no waitress.
Manager.
Julie, step aside. I will
I got
take,
this table.
I will take this order. Now, I hope everybody understands how elite this audio content is right now. But usually you want to circle Tuesday because Wednesday is the par. What is the event?
Par 3 contest.
The par 3 contest. I enjoy, flipping channels, watching it, but you got to be like present and available and around. And look, you're one of the legends of the game. Tuesday afternoon to Tuesday night should be when you get all of your.
When's the Masters dinner though?
I think that's Sunday or Monday.
Okay.
My understanding.
It's early on.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we're good.
Again, Tuesday is when you want to really bang it out, and then refocus on Wednesday, and then lock in on Thursday. That's, look,
ideal.
Yeah. I don't have to be as catty to understand this, but obviously my services are available.
I honestly think that should be part of the caddy's job.
Yes.
The entire game.
Yes. Hey, did you see that girl at hole 11? Yeah, I'll swing back. Don't worry about it. You just focus on the par 5 on 12, okay? I got you. But yeah.
So back to the Chiefs.
Right. Easily.
So I want to talk to you about the Rashee Rice situation, a couple other things going on. But let's start with the stadium stuff because you got a new article up in The Athletic about it. I think everyone is to blame a little bit. I think, like Frank White and all that. I think the Royals hurt themselves. I think the Chiefs hurt themselves. But there's part of it with the Chiefs that really confuses me, and it seemed like every business leader was in town but Clark. They were I'm just being honest. They were far too quiet on their end. I don't feel like they ever took the lead. Why wasn't it the Chiefs weren't more present in their push for the stadium, unlike the Royals? They let the Royals take the whole lead on this, was my opinion.
Right. No, you're exactly accurate. Clark Hunt not being there on Tuesday was a decision. It's a decision, kids. He could be anywhere. He chose to not be there. Now, you could say that there's some business stuff he needs to attend to in Dallas.
And Mark Donovan's been the face of this thing for them.
Correct, because Mark Donovan has been given that authorization by Clark Hunt. So you kind of understand the way it plays. But unity was, I think, what they tried to build upon. Hey, we've had this partnership. The Chiefs and Royals have really gotten along really since the turn of the century, right? There used to be some, I guess you could say, some animosity about the two in the 90s.
Yeah, they didn't like each other as much across the parking lot.
But essentially since, Ned Yost and Andy Reid really got along and sort of tied these two organizations together even more, that should have been their pitch, and they should have really leaned on it even further about the unity of keeping the two teams in Jackson County, even though they were going to essentially be a little bit more separate in the physical standpoint of where they were from a landmark. With Clark Hunt not being there Tuesday, and with them basically trusting, and I think this is a generational issue, trusting what has worked in the past.
Yeah.
We don't have to be totally front and center because we have established ourselves for, 50 years essentially.
We have trust. Yeah.
We have trust. We are, their big sticking point, which I still think they didn't totally dismantle the other side's argument, is this is not a new tax. This is an extension of what we've already built together. When you purchase something, that's the tax. It's not like we're just taking things right out of your paycheck.
Yeah.
So they didn't do a great enough job of explaining that. I also think there was some mischievousness on the other side, which I tend to
happens in campaigns all the time.
Yeah, which I tend to kind of like
sadly,
respect.
That's part of the game.
Yeah, I kind of like. It's mischievous. Why we don't want to give our money to billionaires? It's not that simple, guys. It's when you purchase something in the county. But sure.
And then they threw out some disingenuous numbers about like the number play worked from the opposition all the time.
Right.
Frank White from the beginning when he's like, well, this is going to cost $7 trillion. You're like, I don't think those numbers are right. But some people didn't look into it.
Right.
And then the opposition was doing the things like, this might cost each individual household $2 million. You're like, I don't think I can pay that.
It's
But
not,
they didn't
that's
look
not
into
possible.
it. Yeah. Some of the numbers that were thrown around weren't right, but most people won't look into that.
So this is where the generational gap, I think, really comes from is we have given you guys a lot. We have never had a real fight in public with the county or with our, constituents, our nearest constituents. And you should trust us. You should trust that we're going to continue to give you the same level of entertainment, joy, memories. And I think I understand everybody's side to this. I want to make that very clear to the audience. But the schism really does occur in where we lie. We lie in the show me state.
Yeah.
And that still rings true. I think we learned that on Tuesday is that you still have to show me what you're going to do and be thorough, be direct, be clear and concise, and none of this nonsense about changing locations and none of this nonsense about that looks like the same stadium to me.
Do you think the Chiefs are going to try again in Jackson County first?
No.
You think they're going straight to Kansas?
I think people need to understand and realize that we all, me included, need to come around to the legitimate possibility that the Chiefs could be playing in Kansas in 2030, 2032. Whatever is necessary for that side to get its agreements for the construction of a new stadium, for the ability for the Chiefs to get to maximum profitization. And that's something I asked Clark Hunt last week at the owners' meetings. Do you care about legacy or do you care about maximizing profits? There's one side of the state line where you could actually do that. And I think Clark, in his answer, tried to thread the needle of Jackson County's been good to us, and I want to be good to Jackson County. I don't want to move. I have told you that several times, Nate. And also, if this doesn't go well, which I put out on Twitter, we will have to discuss other alternatives. Really, there's only one alternative, and we all know what it is, and we should all be prepared for the idea that the Chiefs may be playing in a new stadium in Kansas in less than a decade.
That's ultimately what I think happens. And unfortunately, because of the state line, though, I don't think either franchise is leaving the region. That's the luxury that we have just for the KC Metro. To me, that's another vote failing before I actually would get concerned about either team leaving the region. But Nate, don't you think when you saw the renovation plan from the Chiefs, would a plan that would have had, I don't know what everybody exactly wanted, but people were underwhelmed with that's fair to say, right? With the renovation plan, would that have changed anything? Because to me, when you lose by 16 points, though, it's not just that, hey, the renovation was underwhelming. It's not just that the location changed. It's, there's so many things that went into it.
Right.
And if you find out, we don't have the exit poll data or something. I said this yesterday. You would love to know out of the people that voted no, what percentage of their number one priority was, hey, they just didn't want to fund, as they were phrasing it, billionaires. And if that percentage is so high, then how can you run back another vote in that same county? And that's what I question and why I agree with you that, to me, it likely ends up the Chiefs going to Kansas, because if the percentage was so much, hey, you just are against publicly financed projects, period, for sports teams.
And there are some people like that.
And there are, and within their right.
Right.
And if it was, as we said earlier, if you were able to get every single mayor in every major city to agree to never finance public stadiums, then that would be great, because they wouldn't just leave your city or leave your region, and then we would actually be able to change the way the system is currently set up. But that's not happening. The mayor of Dallas isn't agreeing with the mayor of Kansas City, isn't agreeing with the mayor of Austin, whatever.
Right.
So that's my concern if you were just running it back in Jackson County is if there's just a huge chunk of people, and we know there's at least one grassroots type of organization that was strictly about no money for billionaires.
No, right.
Then that's not changing no matter what the renovation plan or whatever that the Chiefs or Royals throw out there in that county.
Here are the two mistakes that I understand from a majority of people. The Royals bungled their communication and their timeline from start to finish.
Yeah, they did. And their location changing late hurt.
Period. The Chiefs did not inspire anyone who lives in Jackson County. You have given me the same stadium, and as I look here, shout out to my guy Joshua Briscoe, who put out the renderings.
It's not good. It's just VIP street.
The night of the election. Hey, new end zone suites. That's going to be what? 0.5% of the people in the stadium? Hey, we got a connection bridge. Who's going from one side of the stadium to the other during the game? Maybe, I guess, maybe in a concert? Maybe? Hey, we got new video boards. Cool.
They look like the old ones. They're
Cool.
slightly bigger.
I mean, cool. Hey, you see where the ride share zone is? It's still nowhere near the stadium. I mean, that thing is way out there. So I asked a couple.
Take that new concrete bridge, though.
Check out the VIP entries. That again, maybe 10% of people will be.
No,
able to go through.
I think that's a.
So they didn't.
I think that's fair.
They didn't inspire anybody. Yeah. They didn't get anybody excited. Anything you talk about from an advertising standpoint is the newness and how it connects to you and how you sort of want it, but we actually communicate it for you, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. There's nothing from an advertising standpoint that really says this is new, this is sparkling, this is shiny. This is something that we can give you that really inspires the next generation for the Chiefs other than nostalgia, which they also kind of didn't lean on. If you're going to lean on something and keep it mostly the same, it has to be nostalgia. You know, we are Lambeau Field of the AFC. We are Wrigley Field. We want to be established as something like that. And by the way, our structure is good enough to withstand that for at least the next 25 to 40 years. So, let's really lean in on that. They're getting rid of Soldier Field. That's not going to be us, guys. We want to stay with what we've done and actually want to build around it. Ain't nothing there that look like Titletown. So how am I supposed to be inspired? Secondly, or I guess lastly, I messaged someone that I love and adore and immensely respect, I should say. I don't want to say that person's name. Quote, lives in Jackson County, obviously. Quote, it was a hard decision, but I don't like what came about. Fair. Quote, I am the biggest advocate for a downtown stadium. I live downtown, and I love the Chiefs and Royals, but I felt as if the plan was not put together well, and I didn't feel right about it.
Yeah.
That person's not alone. Yeah, that person's not alone.
I think that would gather a lot of the sentiment.
I think that is the general consensus of well-educated, sensible human beings who also, again, love the Chiefs and Royals, who also live in Jackson County.
And if you voted that way, I would the other part of that, and I don't know, you know this person obviously, but that means they were also willing to risk the possibility that that team would no longer reside in their county. That was that to me, if you're thinking of it, for some people that mattered, for some people that doesn't matter. I do also think there was a fraction of individuals that voted no that deep down truly do believe, and this is where I think people are incorrect, that both teams will just come back in 8 months and give it another go.
Hell no.
And that's just not reality, right?
I'm talking to other people.
Yeah, and that's not reality.
Come on, son. Yeah. The reason they chose this was because it's not the general election.
Yeah.
And also, this is something that I'm going to share here that I've not shared publicly before. I got the chance to talk to Mark Donovan, obviously at the owners' meetings, along with Clark Hunt, along with just about anybody in a Chiefs,
brass capacity.
Yes, thank you. Even Tammy Reed, shout out to her. Thank you, Tammy. She knows what I mean. With all that being said, Mark Donovan said, "You're not gonna hear from us." I'm sorry, what? You're not gonna hear from us. What do you mean? If and he said kind of what he said Tuesday night. Hey man, this is the best we can. This is the best we can do. We're gonna ensure that Arrowhead stays in put. This sales tax is gonna stay. We're not creating a new issue for you financially, and we've given the Royals the ability to get what they want. If this goes wrong, you ain't hearing from us for a while.
Yeah, I think both the Chiefs and Royals are going to lay low for a little bit.
Which tells me around training camp, something might go down, and it ain't going to be in Jackson County.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the one part. Like, heck, I even heard Carrington, who does live in Jackson County. He mentioned his biggest reason, and it's not a secret. He said he voted yes on air. was he didn't want to jeopardize or risk that either team or both could lead. That was his biggest reason, while also understanding the other concerns. And that's where I saw a ton. And I don't know if this was also, people viewed it as a threat or not, in that some people said they were turned off by that. But to me, it was always just reality, which is, hey, you got plenty of, honestly, really good reasons why you might have voted no. But then you also have to be accepting that there is a risk that one or both of those temes leaves your county. And that's where we're at now.
Hey, Mr. Gold, don't tell me how to vote, man. Don't tell me how to vote. I don't want to feel threatened. But what if that other dude said something?
By the way, there's a big difference between a threat and an empty threat. I think a lot of people thought it was an empty threat. It was not an empty threat.
They the Chiefs have a legitimate option, and the Royals, if they choose, could take it to somebody in a different state and get their thoughts and opinions and resources. I mean, I know Nationals would put out there. I actually think Austin would be hilarious if they somehow moved to Austin. Baseball is very popular, Texas. Austin is a up-and-coming, continual, thriving metropolis. And you don't have to change much from a divisional standpoint. You don't have to change much from a structural of the American League. I mean...
Yeah, again, I think we're a vote away from that becoming a concern. I do deep down think John Sherman wants this team in Kansas City. This ownership group is made up of Kansas City.
That's what he promised when he came.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think they will give it another go in the region before then. If that were to fail, then absolutely you have to start thinking outside. But I think both teams have another go before they leave the region.
Quickly, Nate, before we have to go to Josh Vernier, our Royals Insider, coming up in about 10 minutes, unless you want the Long Beach State head coach.
No, I'm good. No, I don't want to talk about that. No.
Ex-head coach, not even the current one.
Yeah.
We'll get to Vernier in about 10 minutes. Chiefs concern level over Rashee Rice's situation? Let's say concern over him just making knucklehead decisions, concern over suspension plays. Where are the Chiefs right now as it relates to Rashee Rice? As I think one report said, his attorney, I think, is scheduled to talk at 1:30 today now.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, in Dallas. In Dallas, it is happening.
Okay.
Royce West.
You might have a little something to write up later. Unless you want to write about Carson Wentz.
Guys, there's a thing called the off season, and I ain't been off. I think the concern is probably medium right now. It's not low, it's not high. It's probably medium, which is understandable. I just want to prepare people too that this is a violation of the personal conduct policy. So Rashee Rice, however this goes, is probably going to be suspended, or at least start the season suspended. Or it might be a Willie Gay situation where
they wait till the legal.
The suspension is like boop, it's in like October, November somewhere. But putting people at risk, it's a violation.
Yeah,
easily.
How many games?
Because we had Amy Dash on.
I thought 2 to 4 maybe.
We had Amy Dash on earlier.
Probably 4.
And that's where I was before. And then hearing Amy talk earlier, I kind of thought it was going to be less because she referenced some other reckless driving cases and guys were getting like 1 game or no games. Now, she acknowledged if we find out that there was more injuries, and fortunately, right now, nobody was seriously hurt, thank goodness, where we're having a completely different conversation.
It's on video.
The dash cam video's bad.
I mean, it's...
If it wasn't on video, you know that works. If it's not on video, it's a lot different.
Right. We have a much better picture because of video. And I just think, what y'all doing? So stupid.
Just being stupid 23-year-olds.
We ain't no Vin Diesel. Come on, man.
Man spent $2,000 a single day to rent a Lambo only to wreck the damn thing.
It was a nice SUV. $1,700 a day.
$1,700 a day is crazy,
come
by the way.
Come on, son. Like, nah, baby, this ain't it. Now, I think from the Chiefs' standpoint, it doesn't change their draft board. I mean, I think they'll still pick a receiver in the first 3 rounds of some sort. It may push them a little bit because they have cap space now after the L'Jarius Sneed trade.
We thought maybe like Tyler Boyd, like the vet guy.
Yeah, you could say Tyler Boyd could make sense to some degree. Maybe you give a 2-year deal to somebody who you think is a viable, reliable veteran receiver just to help things out in that regard. But you're still going to draft a receiver very high, particularly high, one would think. Now, that could swing a little bit with the left tackle situation. They by the way, the Chiefs interviewing some left tackles, guys. So they're asking. Okay. You've asked, and they're starting to deliver.
I want a franchise left tackle. I did.
I don't think you're getting that. I think he's talking like they're interviewing like 1-year options. Well, maybe in between.
No, they're doing both.
I sounded like he was some more college.
No, they're interviewing prospects, kids. This is the most they've looked into college left tackles in the Mahomes era. I can tell you that.
Didn't your most recent mock draft have them taking the BYU tackle?
Yes,
Is he a left or a right tackle?
He can play left.
How long are his arms? That's the thing I'm told that only matters. How long are his arms?
We looked it up.
I think it was like some long arms.
I think it was. I think he was 36.
Ooh,
and he
that's
loves
extra
some long
long
arms, baby.
He does.
So,
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that was the one we looked up.
Yeah. So look, if
I think it is.
If there, I just want to remind people, if there's no video, at least that I have seen or can remember, if there's no video of Willie Gay throwing a vacuum across the room, and that got 4 games, yeah, he getting 4. Just
interesting.
There's video, it's reckless driving. It's in the middle of freaking broad daylight too. Not helpful. And also, what you doing? So I think Chiefs fans should probably just understand that 4 games is probably the range for Rashee Rice if and when this all gets resolved. And then I at least appreciate and respect that as poorly as it looked, again, on video of him getting up and we assume walking to God knows where. Hey, where's the nearest? It's one of those things.
Where the hell do you think you went?
It reminded me of like the 80s. Hey, where's the nearest payphone? Hey, I gotta make a call.
Like, did they just catch an Uber? Did they have a buddy come pick them up? Like, what the hell?
Hell is that? Yeah. So I at least appreciate and respect that Rashee Rice is like, man, as poorly as it looked me walking away, I'm gonna answer every question from here on out. I'm gonna be as truthful and as honest as I can be, and that's the only play you got, young man. So we'll see where it goes, but I think it's a medium concern. But it doesn't change much around how the team is trying to build this roster between now and the start of training camp.
Real quick, lastly before we let you go, we talked earlier, Clyde Edwards-Helaire back with the Chiefs the same day Dobbins was in town. I know you had a tweet referencing that the door's not completely closed on Dobbins.
Yep.
Was this more a leverage thing, or do you actually think they're interested in Dobbins? Because Dobbins was on my off-season running back wish list, so I really would like Dobbins here. But is this now post-draft? They're going to see what happens?
Yeah, I think that was the plan from the beginning, right? Sometimes, especially with a guy coming from multiple injuries, if not another significant one, and we have to remember that too, anytime a guy visits with an injury and he doesn't sign immediately, that's just understanding your market and where you might fit in a certain team's depth chart, playbook, coaching staff. How do I want to meet the people I might be potentially working with. So J.K. Dobbins is going to do that with like 4 or 5 teams. But he's obviously interested in the Chiefs. The Chiefs are interested in him. This could go on until June. I always want to remind people that, like, it's a little bit of a different case, but I want to remind people that, like, Jerry McKinnon was not around, and then June 15th showed up, and he was like, all right, I'm ready to go. Oh, it's just so interesting that they just finished the mandatory mini camp. So I'm saying that it could be something like that, too, where it's like it's a mid-June, early July. Hey, let's give him the playbook a little bit early. He can get through the physical. And he can have, like, a 2-week run-up to veterans reporting for training camp. That's definitely a possibility. I think he wants to play for the Chiefs. There's a reason why Hollywood Brown says, hey, man, think diamonds, and that is immediately liked by J.K. Dobbins. So there's still a real possibility there, but this is just the first of, like, mini dates in terms of where you might want to go, where you might want to land, and, hey, how's the money situation going to look? I don't think the Chiefs are going to invest much in the draft. I think the Chiefs are trying to, I might be giving away too much here, but I think the Chiefs are trying to get out of the 7th round. Just get out.
Okay.
And obviously they moved up, but they also might use that pick to get out, because if you get out of the 7th round, as I've said before, now you can start making phone calls to undrafted, whatever, receiver, running back, tight end. Like, hey, don't get drafted because we got $100,000 right here waiting on you to arrive. Shout out, hey, you want me to text Justin Ross? Because he went through it, and he seems to be, by all concerns, pretty happy based on his own injury situation at the time. So the Chiefs will try to get out of the 7th round, try to use that to maybe get a running back who's undrafted. And then, you could always circle back to J.K. Dobbins and say, hey, how are you feeling? What's the workouts been going through? Obviously, we don't have to sign you now. Hey, if you think your market can increase a little bit more, if you could get an extra $1 million by saying no today and saying yes in June, July, go ahead.
Of course.
That's your prerogative.
Nate Taylor from The Athletic. Great insight as always, and we'll check back in to see if Tiger Woods' philosophy works.
Tiger, get some thrust in on Tuesday, my guy. Some just a couple thrusts. Get out. Get refreshed. Get your mind right.
Then go shoot a 66.
That's what I'm talking about, Cody.
I'm open to all solutions for fixing this Royals bullpen. We're going to talk about that with Josh Vernier next.
You got to get a couple thrusts in, my guy.
Hey, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Don't forget to follow Cody and Gold on the Odyssey app so you can listen on demand to my terrific football takes throughout the year right here on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's that time of year. Fire up the grill and get your backyard groove on. It's Hy-Vee's good old-fashioned meat sale. Save big with rolled back prices on springtime favorites like Casey strips, boneless chicken breasts, special recipe brats, and top loin pork chops. Purchase a spring grilling bundle to earn a $1 per gallon discount with your Fuel Saver card. These crazy low prices will get you in the groove. Hustle in for big savings at the good old-fashioned meat sale this Friday through Sunday at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Kling. Do you have an upcoming graduate in your life? There's a lot of things on that plate. Just trying to figure out what's next, who to invite to the party. I'm going to take one thing, though, off this plate. It is the graduation catering. Leave that to my friends from Hy-Vee. Not sure what to get? Well, here's a perfect idea for you. Don't miss Hy-Vee's graduation party open house. It's Saturday, April 6th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all the amazing graduation day options or just get a little inspiration. Graduation season or any season, I got your place. It's only at Hy-Vee.
Baseball season's here, and it's time to spring into action to get into shape and feel great. Hey, it's Bob Fesco inviting you to discover Johnson Fitness and Wellness Stores. Their expert staff will find the best home fitness equipment for your unique fitness goals, space, and budget. Find top-rated treadmills, ellipticals, strength equipment, rowers, exercise bikes, and mention 610 Sports Radio to get a free kit massager with the purchase of any massage chair or matrix equipment. Hit a home run with in-home workouts and find the nearest location at johnsonfitness.com.
Outdoor America with Tommy Bench, Saturday mornings on 610 Sports Radio at 5 a.m. and the Odyssey app. This week, Tommy answers your questions. Outdoor America, presented by Wholesale Batteries, the right battery the first time.
Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. You gotta love the 12 seeds beating the 5 seeds. And let's check out Kansas. They could be primed for an upset. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines, and you can even pick who's gonna win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Dusty Ligens here. Come to Smithfield Ford, previously Dave Littleton Ford, this Saturday, April 6th from noon to 2 p.m. to get your free autograph with world champion linebacker Nick Bolton. We'll be giving away a Nick Bolton jersey at 1 p.m., so make sure you come out and register for the drawing this Saturday at Smithfield Ford.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. We've helped over 30,000 families out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answers. At Wesley Financial Group, we're dedicated to helping timeshare owners get out of their financial nightmare. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free timeshare exit information kit. Call 800-761-0000. That's 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-973-7809 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-973-7809. That's 800-973-7809. What do you have to lose? Call 800-973-7809. Again, 800-973-7809.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online.
Yeah!
Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
You can change your career in just 4 months. Go to Centric.com/610.
If you're ready to flip the script on your future, imagine transforming your life and career in just a few months with Centric.
You can do it as in little as 3 steps or change your career in as little as 4 months. Go talk to our guy, Russ Mondry, and find out about that new career in IT. Go to Centric.com/610.
We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 10 minutes or so. Thanks again to Nate Taylor from The Athletic for joining us. Well, let's talk some Royals baseball. Away from the stadium stuff, but on the field, our guy, Josh Vernier, our Royals insider who you hear each and every day, pretty much now throughout the Royals season on his on-deck show and, of course, post-game. My favorite, I think this was from your post-game show last night, Vern, where did you have a caller talking about Matt Quatrero? Was this from your show?
My beef is with our manager, Quattro.
Was that from you?
Is that the guy that called me soft as well?
Maybe.
It may have been.
Maybe.
He called him Quattro.
Quatero. Oh, no, I haven't heard anyone get his name right. There's been at least 16, 17 different renditions of his last name on the postgame show over the past year.
What'd you do during the rain delay, Vern? 5 hours. What'd you do?
I was on the air playing some of the best Royals content that 610 Sports Radio had in its archives.
There you go.
you had to go deep, I feel like, in the archives
Did you
for
pull
5
back
hours.
to like my one-on-one with Josh Staumont from 5 years ago, Vern? Is that what you looked for?
No, I don't have that one, as a matter of fact. No, Carrington and Rob do a great job with those Mystery Royal that they do every July. I got a bunch of those. Johnny Gomes and David DeJesus are 2 of my favorites, so brought those to the people.
All right, let's talk about this bullpen because that's what everybody, I think, wants to talk about. It's only 6 games into the season, and so where do you stand with what we've seen, and particularly Will Smith, who was brought in? They promised him the closer gig. He's had 2 opportunities so far. And obviously, they have not gone well. They have failed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're unable to start this by talking about the rotation. Will Smith is responsible for half of the team's losses. Those 2 losses have been easy to lay at the feet of Will Smith. But like you mentioned, first of all, a 1-year, $5 million deal is not difficult to get away from. But this was a guy that you signed December 11th, I want to say, right before you brought in Lugo. He was key to bringing in Lugo and Stratton, and then the web continues to spin, and you bring in Waka, and you bring in Hunter Renfroe, and you bring in Adam Frazier. JJ and many others within the organization go back to the assist that Will Smith was able to lend in that process. And then you show up to spring training, and this guy's one of the leaders. I mean, he's the oldest guy inside that clubhouse. He's cutting it up, keeping it loose, serving as, again, one of the true leaders of that clubhouse. Comes out this season and has been bad. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's 1 for 3 in opportunities thus far this season. And when you're trying to get big league hitters out with 90, 91, man, you better be changing speeds. You better be changing elevation, eye level. You better hit your spots. You better paint the black. He's not doing that. So the issue is when you look throughout that bullpen, they don't have that big velocity guy. Carlos Hernandez is banged up, and I don't know how much you would trust him to begin with. Will Klein's in Omaha, off to a nice start. John McMillan's in Omaha as well, not off to as good of a start. So there are velocity options in the organization. I don't think any of them are ready just yet. And So you look at the options that are out there right now. Well, James MacArthur is my top choice. I know his results haven't been great. You could dive a little bit deeper into the numbers. I think James MacArthur is better than what his numbers would say. John Schreiber is really the only one out there with multiple appearances that has put up zeros multiple times. Right, Matt Sowers only appeared in one game, unless you want to see Jordan Lyles. Nick Anderson just got walked off on Monday. Chris Stratton really hasn't been that good. Angel Zerpa hasn't been as strong, or at least wasn't as strong last night as he was in his first appearance. So, yeah, Will Smith has been bad, but I think it would be bad business to take the job from him. I think it would be a poor reflection to that clubhouse if you take the closer's job from Will Smith, because there's ways to go about it, right? Will's going to be unavailable tonight. He's gone in back-to-back games, so you're going to give somebody else that chance in the ninth inning if it does arise. If that guy, whether it's John Schreiber, if it's James MacArthur, whoever it might be, if they thrive, well, now Q can take that information and put it to use moving forward, and you can go about it in a respectful way. If Schreiber comes out and pitches well tonight, and the next time a save opportunity presents itself and it's three righties, Q can go to Schreiber and say, well, I was just playing the righty-lefty matchup, and then you bring Will Smith out for it. Becomes a little bit more of a platoon. You can go about it in a respectful way. I don't think he needs to come out and say, Will Smith is gone, he's no longer our closer. He means too much to that clubhouse.
In a way, Vern, can I feel just like, hey, mixed results of any 6-game sample of a bullpen is not a good way to judge a bullpen anyway. And their general pitching plan is gangbusters, because you mentioned about the starting rotation, in which they currently lead baseball in ERA and have already had, I think, 4 shutout performances out of the rotation. Reagans has been great twice. Marsh was great. Singer was great. Can I just say, hey, look, I don't know. They seem like they had a good handle on pitching in the offseason. The bullpen's just off to a weird start, but it's a small sample size.
Of course, it's a small sample size, and if you watch every game, which I understand most people either don't want to or don't have the time to or are unable to, if you've watched every game, it's not as simple as to say the bullpen's been bad, that's why this team's wasting all those terrific starts. Second best ERA behind only the Houston Astros, the best whip in Major League Baseball, holding opponents to the lowest batting average in all of Major League Baseball. No doubt about it, that rotation has been terrific, but they need to be terrific. They, throughout spring training, as we've talked about, they need to be the strength of this team. They're why I believe you can maintain through May. You're going to be able to deal with these bumps and bruises that the bullpen's going to take. And let's not let the offense slide. Listen, last night was about Will Smith, no doubt about it. All I asked this offense to do was, when you get an opportunity to push one run across against Corbin Burns, do it. They did that. I got nothing negative to say. They went 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position in those first 3 innings. Nice job getting the 2 runs. But, boy, you left a lot out there. And if you dive deep into the numbers for this offense, if you eliminate Salvi, who's been a stud in big moments outside of that game where he took the blame and said, the loss on Monday is on me, not on Nick Anderson. I need to come through in that 8th inning. Salvi's hitting .500 with runners in scoring position. Michael Garcia's got a sac fly and a double. But you eliminate those 2, the rest of the team with runners in scoring position has been hitting a .139, an OPS around 350. The offense, outside of Michael, Bobby, and Salvi, the offense hasn't really been that good. MJ's doing fine, but the offense hasn't been the type of well-executed, all tugging on the same end of the rope, they haven't been the type of offense they need to be in order to maintain through May. The starting pitching's doing its job. Either the offense or the bullpen need to pick up theirs.
How about you mentioned Michael Garcia? On opening day, I asked you about hitting leadoff for the power reason. Said, hey, is there some hidden power potential in Michael Garcia? In the early going, there sure as hell is. What's the difference for him?
Man, 2 years in a row, even though I'm a big fan of the young man, I continue to overlook him or underrate him. This, to me, goes back to, last year I didn't think he was going to be the type of impact player or the consistent player that he was, but he showcased the high IQ, This year, I thought he would be more of a gap-to-gap hitter because he says his mindset is up the middle the other way. But also the mindset is getting out in front of the ball, and with that beautiful bat path that he and Ronald Acuna and so many that learned from Acuna's father, that beautiful bat path, when you get out in front of it, he's always hit the ball hard. It's just in years previous or last year, those balls were on the ground. Get out in front of it, gonna get underneath it. And now we're seeing not just the pull power on opening day. That was a 96-mile-per-hour fastball, poorly located by the pitcher last night. But he put a nice, easy swing on it, and it went opposite field, right center field last night for Maikel Garcia. So listen, 2 for 2 of me underestimating Maikel Garcia. I said he's a gap-to-gap hitter, won't hit 20 home runs last week. And he's, almost a sixth of the way there already. So who knows?
I mean, he's already 1 home run away from his season best.
Yeah, last year hit his third on July 3rd. This year hit his third on April 3rd.
Vern, what's your expectation the rest of this week? They open up a series tonight against the White Sox out at the K for 4 games. We know on paper what everybody thinks the White Sox are going to be this season, but I know it's so early, and so anybody saying they have to do something this early is a little crazy. But at the same time, though, I mean, I'll tell you, to me, this is a series you do kind of have to win, I feel like, considering how well we think they've been playing overall.
Well, have to win, what or else what. I think they got a split. They have the pitching.
From a fan sentiment standpoint, not like, oh my gosh, they're done. But from I don't have to tell you, you take the calls after every game.
Fans are fickle, Gold. If they win, if they lose tonight and tomorrow, but win Saturday and Sunday, fans will be in a good mood Monday.
Right.
If they win tonight and tomorrow and lose both games on the weekend, everybody's going to be pissed off. On Monday. Man, I'm watching the text line during last night's game, and it's, I don't know, Vern, I think we got a playoff team. Vern, I haven't been this excited since 2015. Vern, I think we should burn Kauffman Stadium down, and we should go get Will Smith. I mean, the quickness in which the fan base sways one way or the other in April baseball is always something to behold. But as far as the expectation, they have the pitching advantage, starting pitching advantage, and all 4 games this weekend. So you would say, yeah, you should win 3 of 4. But this offense and this bullpen, to me, haven't shown me enough to say that. So I'm going in with the same expectation I had at the beginning of the season. Give me 4 and 6 through the first 10 games. Give me 2 against the White Sox, and I'll be happy. Because of the bullpen issues and the offense issues, I think that tension only mounts tonight. That ninth inning is going to be more pressurized because of what Will Smith and Chris Stratton and Nick Anderson have done. Those big moments with runners in scoring position, you're going to be gripping the bat a little bit tighter because so many of those guys haven't come through yet, and they all want to be the hero, but we need them to play team ball. It's that mental battle going to be on full display tonight.
When you look at the White Sox, are they the worst team in the American League?
Oh, boy. Well, I haven't watched them, so, the
it's an
White Sox
Tigers
didn't do it for me. Oakland, I would think they stink. I don't know. I haven't really dialed into the worst teams yet in the American League. I'm just grateful that it's not the Royals.
There you go. Yeah, the A's 1-6 out of the gate. Soon to be
the Sacramento A's.
Sacramento A's starting next year. That's right. That's exactly right. All right, Vern, appreciate it, man. We'll be listening tonight.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
There you go. Vern's On Deck show gets you set for the Royals and White Sox a little bit later on this evening right here on 610 Sports Radio. It is early. We know this.
Just been
the
frustrating.
Will Smith thing, everybody's frustration is warranted. After 2 outings, you don't change your closer. That's all.
No. Especially a veteran. Look, if he's 22, we're having probably a different conversation, but a veteran who is he's won the last 3 World Series in a row, who you specifically brought in to be a veteran leader in the bullpen who knows how winning cultures work. No. Will Smith deserves some leverage. He deserves a little grace period to get it sorted. I think last night, it was my friend David Lesky who had sent out the tweet that pointed out Wade Davis's first 3 outings in 2014. And I'm not saying Will Smith is Wade Davis. He's not. But his first 3 outings in 2014 were bad. He had an over 6 earned run average. Right. I mean, 3 outings for bullpen arms are notoriously inconsistent. That's part of their job. My bigger concern, I told you, is velocity. He's throwing 90-91. He usually throws 92-93. So maybe it's just that early season velocity hasn't kicked up all the way for Will Smith, and 1 more mile per hour in his fastball make the difference. But yeah, I'm willing to wait it out, considering how great the starting pitching has been.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Drew actually just put out some video content on Twitter of Nate Taylor talking about Tiger Woods and his sex
thrusting.
life. So if you missed that, it's available on Twitter or YouTube or Instagram. The question I have for you today is related to a conversation we had earlier today. As you well know, I've gotten a brand new car for the first time in my life, Gold. So the question I have for you today is, how long do I wait before you're allowed to eat any food in the car? What is the amount of time before it's like, okay, I can't last forever without having a drink or food in the car? What's the length of time before you can eat in a new car?
Month.
1 month? That feels right.
It's a month. I wouldn't even have a fountain drink in that car for a month.
Wow, not even a drink? Not even like a QT fountain drink taken home?
Fountain drink for a month.
How about a water bottle?
Yeah, bottle.
Sealed bottle. That's different.
Yep.
Sealed bottle. That's okay.
Fountain drink, I didn't got to wait a month.
A month?
Yep.
Damn. Well, can I pick up food that's going home and put it on the floor? Or is that like the risk of stinking up the new car smell?
That's fine. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it like the first few days I got the car. I'll be honest. Like the second day I got the car, I wouldn't want to go pick up Chinese food and have my car smelling like the next morning.
Some people say 1 year, 6 months.
1 year.
1 year. I'm not going to. I have kids, man. We're not making it a year. We're taking a road trip later this year. I'm not making it a full ass year.
I would not. I think it's different for the food and for the drink. I would a drink
Drinks right away.
A drink, oh yes, right away. I don't have a problem with that. But food, I would say you shouldn't go to the drive-thru and bring food home for at least a week or two if you can.
Someone says you got to rip the Band-Aid off right away because you've got kids. Accept your fate. Someone earlier suggested just ripping open a ketchup packet, smearing it on the back of the seat, and just lean into this. Like I have, it's different for you versus me. I inevitably will have a more difficult time keeping my car clean than you
kids.
because I got 2 kids. This will be the family car when we're driving places. They're always, kids are just sticky, like all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. So like there's only a certain amount of avoidance I can do anyway. I think you got to limit the types of food. Nothing flaky. No like croissants or donuts or things with sprinkles.
Yeah.
I think you can eat, but it's got to be limited to things that aren't dusty, like no cheese balls, right? Can't be things that leave
ice cream.
a film
No ice
or
cream?
ice cream.
Yeah.
But if it's like a stable food like a French fry, I think you're probably
Someone
okay.
says they're just done with the question. They're like, just do whatever you want, Cody. Someone said it's your car. Just do what you want.
You want.
I think you have to at least try to keep it as clean as you can until the first, at the moment. At the moment, one of your kids brings a cheese ball in there and it happens to get spilled. That's the moment that you lean into. Okay,
it's over.
We're accepting the fate. Don't try to go any. I think you have to try to keep it as clean as you can.
I think for a little while you got to make the effort.
Yes.
You got to like really try to keep it looking pristine for a bit. Like I know not forever. I understand how this works, but like for a little bit, right?
Yeah, because we've discussed even as something as simple as tennis shoes. Remember we were discussing that.
Yeah,
like
that's another one.
When you first have tennis shoes, like the first scuff you get pisses you off, and then because you like even if it happens
What's funny
inside
is
of a
tennis
week.
shoes, I'm not like that.
Like-
I buy one pair of shoes a year, one pair of tennis shoes.
But
I wear them until they're ground into nothing, and then I just live my life.
Like you know the shoe is going to get scuffed, but you don't want the scuff the second day you bought the shoe. So the same thing with the car. Someone says, well, what's the difference between waiting a month to eat in the car or 6 months or the first day? Because you still want to enjoy it being perfect for
As
a
long
few
as you
days.
can, yes.
Yeah, as long as possible.
Are you going to get one of those car wash memberships now that you have a
You
new?
should, man.
Join
Join the
have
club.
one of those. He's
Join
a big
the
fan
club.
of it.
Join the club. You'll be very happy. With
Oh,
kids too. It's easy. You can just go in and get the free vacuum quick. And
I think you have to buy
Why
in
not
now
on Twitch
that you
says buy
have
a car wash pass and get them kids vacuuming? Have them clean up their own mess. Teach them a lesson.
Seriously, I don't know if I'll ever have a car now without also having a car wash membership.
I think now that you have a new vehicle, you should
once a week at least.
You should jump into that.
Depends
for
on the
sure,
weather. Obviously, it
since you have
depends
a
on the
new
weather. Did we just have a big, snowstorm, and then there's a bunch of crap all over the car? You're gonna wash it more frequently.
If it rains,
And you got a garage. You got a garage, so
I do
it's,
have a
you
garage.
can put the
It's parked
car in. It's
safely.
not like it's gonna because you don't want to wash the car if it's gonna be kept outside and when it's 5 degrees outside. That's not good. But if you put it in the garage,
if it rains and then it dries up, but it's got some of the the rain has dried up a little bit and it's got like a I don't know what to
it looks
call
a little
but
spotty.
Yeah, a little bit spotty. You don't just want it. It's a brand new car. I think you want to take
I'll be
care of it
honest.
a
My
little bit.
old car, we were down to about 2 washes a year. Okay.
A year?
Now, vacuuming
okay.
different. That was more often. But an exterior wash on the Jetta, maybe twice a year. It's a 14-year-old car that almost 200,000 miles on it. We're about twice a year washing the exterior of that bad boy.
Barber texted, he said, brand new car is new until the 90-day mark. Also, he said, barbershop, no eating in my car ever. He never eats. Ever. He doesn't allow it ever.
No food at all?
He says never.
Does he get food at the drive-thru and bring it home? Or is that off limits even?
He's listening. He can text back in. I'm not sure.
So zero eating.
Now, they're leather seats, though, right? So that helps with the cleanup. That's a big help.
They were cloth before.
Cloth would be a much bigger problem. Your kids are going to eventually spill a drink on the leather seat. Easy to clean up, though. It's leather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I could be a no food in the car person. What about long road trips? What do? You just stop to eat?
No, you have to eat.
No snacks? I like snacks in the car if we're on a long road trip.
If you're going on a road trip, you know people are going to eat in the car. I mean, that's kind of has to happen. Snacks, at least.
Yeah, again, just smart with the snacks. No, nothing's going to make them overly sticky.
Someone says if it's a black car, make sure you go to a touchless car wash. If not, you'll have those micro scratches everywhere, worse than food in the car.
Well, it's not black. It's silver. It's like darker silver.
My car is black, and I know what they're talking about. Again, after a while, you don't care as much after a while on that.
Yeah, at some point you're like, but I do care right now.
Exactly.
I'd like that car. I'd like that car looking nice for a minute.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be forever. You saw it today. It's nice and clean and has a new car smell.
Okay, get the windows tinted. That's your next step.
Really?
Get the windows tinted a little bit.
Never been a window tinted guy. You think I need a tent?
Not super dark, but a nice little tent. I think you'll be happy in the summertime. Nice little tent. It'll protect the interior of the car a little too.
I mean, it probably means
those rays won't come through.
Need to close that sunroof. That like panoramic roof. I left the thing open today. I kind of forgot to close
Wait,
that.
Oh, you mean just the?
Yeah, like the screen. If you're saying protect the interior, I should probably have closed that.
Probably. That's the
random
random question of the day. Up next, an idea that college sports are thinking about. I think we all love it. We'll tell you why next.
Hey, it's Brady Singer. You're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values. Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler.com.
Barbecue put Kansas City on the map, and Smokehouse Barbecue has been serving up the best barbecue in Kansas City for over 35 years. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. When my family and I want delicious baby back ribs, burnt ends, and hickory pit beans, we head to Smokehouse Barbecue. Of course, no trip to Smokehouse is complete without their Cajun chicken wings, which are the best wings on the planet. Visit them in Independence, Zona Rosa, or Gladstone, or at smokehousebbq.com. For over 35 years, locally owned and family operated, it's Smokehouse Barbecue.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have, because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-330-2929. That's 800-330-2929. 800-330-2929.
How would you like to get a free world champion Chiefs linebacker Nick Bolton autograph?
This is Nick Bolton. Please come see me at Smithfield Ford this Saturday starting at noon.
Blaine here with Smithfield Ford. Previously, Dave Littleton. Get your free autograph and meet the changing management. 3 times the selection of new Fords and one of the largest used car inventory in the Northland.
See all the new Smithfield Ford and me, Kansas City's Nick Bolton, this Saturday at noon.
Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every single game of the tournament. So whether you're betting on the big upset or you're picking the 1 seeds to advance, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook app. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. There's nothing more exciting than having some stakes and some wagers on the tournament. So, again, whether you're picking that thrilling upset or you feel like you're going to have the perfect bracket, the best place to showcase that is my friends at FanDuel. They're giving you $200 to use on point spreads, money lines, player props. You can even pick who you think's going to cut down the nets. So visit FanDuel.com, use my promo code CDOT, and you can bet college basketball for a fun and exciting March. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable bonus specs that expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
NASCAR Xfinity Series driver Ryan Ellis here for Preferred Asphalt and Seal Coating. Not everyone has the pro racing skills to dodge the potholes in your parking lot. So business owners, if you want your parking lot done right, contact the commercial asphalt, concrete, and seal coating experts at locally owned Preferred Asphalt and Seal Coating with top-rated customer service and unmatched quality. Get your own free quote today at packc.biz. That's packc.biz. Preferred Asphalt and Seal Coating, a company you can trust.
When you're getting ready to buy or sell a home, you want a real estate agent you can trust, and that agent is Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team. Dawn and her team are on the cutting edge of all the latest and greatest ideas in the real estate industry today. That's why if I had to sell my home, Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team are the only agents I would trust. But don't just take my word for it. They have over 100 5-star reviews on Google and sold 120 homes last year alone. So Google Sharp Homes team or check them out at homesforsaleandkc.com. Are you getting ready to jet off on your next adventure? Make your travel experience stress-free with KC's best airport parking destination, Park and Go. No need to worry about the elements because all spots are covered. Park and Go's quick and easy shuttle services pick you up right at your car and take you straight to the terminal. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7, fast and hassle-free. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated.
No matter who we are or where we come from, we all deserve to have a decent place to live. We deserve to have the power to take care of ourselves and build our own futures. At Habitat for Humanity of Kansas City, we know that strong and stable homes are the foundation of strong and stable communities. Together, we can work alongside families and transform lives. Learn how you can be a part of the change you want to see in Kansas City at habitatkc.org.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
As an educator, Mr. Nelson's teachings are still being quoted in schools.
Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world.
Mr. Nelson taught hope.
Everyone can rise above their circumstances if they are dedicated and passionate.
And giving our best efforts.
It's always impossible until it's done.
Mr. Nelson Mandela's teachings not only united a nation, they inspire us today. Inspiration. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Hey, we're David and Greg Figueroa,
founders of Melinda's Hot Sauce.
Sometimes brand testimonials feel, well, unbelievable.
So we have a fresh take. Tastemonials.
Comments from real people on the internet who love Melinda's balance of hot heat and fresh, flavorful ingredients.
At 2021 DoWork says, legendary. Nobody does it better.
What was that?
Sounds for fire emoji, touchdown emoji, and 100% emoji.
Okay. At Snack Food Mafia says, I love how they were a thicker hot sauce and not some watery junk.
Love it. At Mushroom writes, best hot sauce west of the Mississippi, also the best hot sauce east of the Mississippi.
Pro tip, that's the whole United States.
Finally, at IGP1 always says, smack so hard.
We love to hear that as much as the FCC.
Set your mouth on flavor with Melinda's Hot Sauces. Find them at your local retailer or online at melindas.com. That's MELINDAS.com.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Kansas City. This is Royals manager Matt Quatrero. Catch Vern's On Deck show 1 hour before first pitch on your home for Royals baseball, 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
1 o'clock hour, hanging out here on a Thursday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon. You guys can always hit us up on the text line as you have throughout the day, 913-586-7610. We were talking about new vehicles and do you let yourself eat in there
Like
early?
you like eating Chipotle in your car. How long until you eat it?
Yeah, and I told you got to wait a month. You got to wait a month. Someone wanted to know what else you don't do in the car.
Oh.
Specifically, do you turn down sex in the new car?
Don't make a habit of turning down sex.
So like Tiger Woods is turning down before the Masters.
Yeah, Tiger Woods says no sex before the Masters. He's locked in. He is locked in.
Are you better if you have sex before a show or if you don't?
Much better shows.
Shows with sex.
Yeah.
Relaxed.
Yeah.
Loose.
That's right. That's exactly
Loose.
right. Yeah.
We'll have to get Tiger Woods to listen to 610 after the Masters is done.
Mhm.
Maybe he'll have a little bit better.
Someone also suggested those seat covers for the kids. Got those. They came in the mail today. I'll go put them in the car now.
Oh, for the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a good idea.
Can't trust kids, man.
That seems like a really good idea.
Can't trust kids. Not with cleanliness, you know?
Coming up in 10 minutes or so, we'll talk more about the Royals and the impact this season could have on a future vote. But I saw this from Andrew Marchand about where college football is potentially headed. We've talked a lot about the conference realignment and what college football playoffs are going to look like going forward and how the Big Ten and the SEC are kind of screwing the whole system up even more than it already is by trying to make these playoffs just for them. And in those conversations, we've mentioned, like, eventually we're headed to, like, some super league or something like that. Well, there's at least a discussion among college presidents and top executives to have a super league, which would transform college football, as those in this article from The Athletic believe the current system is, quote, doomed and headed for bankruptcy. Now, there are probably multiple individuals that would dispute that, refute that, and disagree.
Sports in shambles.
Right.
I don't care. I mean, it's not that it's not profitable, but
here's how
sports
work. Here's how it would work. The current outline would create a system that would have the top 70 programs, which would all be members of the 5 former major conferences, plus Notre Dame, and a new ACC member,
Notre
which
Dame
is SMU.
Always just
of
getting
course.
a pass.
They always want to be themselves, by themselves.
Those would all be permanent members.
Okay.
And it would encompass, this whole idea of the Super League would encompass all 130 plus schools. So the same schools that we all talk about in Division I would all be part of this, but the top 70 would be part of the permanent membership. The members would be in 7 10-team divisions, joined by an 8th division of the teams that would be promoted from what they would call the second tier. So much like European soccer, the 50-plus second division teams would have the opportunity to compete their way into the upper division. So promotion, relegation. The 70 permanent teams who would never be in danger of moving down, while the second division would have the incentive of promotion and relegation. And look, do I like the system from 2002 better? Sure, of course. But that's we're never going back to that pre-realignment stuff. So if you're telling me that the alternative is the Big Ten and the SEC just do their own thing and everybody else is screwed, or this, which at least gives you a chance to maybe have everybody involved, I actually don't hate this idea. The power schools are still going to be protected. That's just the system that they're always. They're not going to take themselves out of the system, okay? Why would they? But it allows, if you're the school, Louisiana, Lafayette is the example we were joking. I kept giving during our meeting earlier today. I don't know why the Raging Cajuns keep coming up.
I don't know what they did to get limited.
I don't know why. That's just when I think of non-Power 5 schools, that's the one that comes to mind right now. They would have an opportunity to be promoted if they had a great year and relegated. This would also be a model that had salaries to a certain extent, right?
Okay,
I mean, it would be a pay to play type of model on top of it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I don't just like this idea. It is so much better than the current system. Please give it to me. Because then at least the relegation model, which I don't think will work in any other professional sport in the U.S. because of the systems that are already in place in those sports. In this one, it totally works. because football programs go up and down all the time. And there's kind of an unlimited supply of them. So if you're telling me in order to get the same check as Alabama, which, by the way, this equals the playing field so much more than it is now. You, Georgia, are getting the exact same dollars for TV revenues you, Kansas. And if you just want to be a laughing stock, like Kansas was in football for a few years, bye-bye, down to the baby league where you're making almost no money and climbing yourself out of it's going to be way harder. But if you're one of those top-end, second-tier programs and you want that big check, that means a team like, let's just continue to use your Louisiana option, the Raging Cajuns.
Yeah.
Let's say that they were they ended up being one of the top 10 teams and the second-tier team. Well, then all of a sudden, they managed to do that. They managed to be almost as good as one of the other Power Fives. Now, they're going to get a big, fat check to go with it. Wow. Well, maybe they can climb up, because here's the thing about relegation that works in the European League is teams climb. You can go from the 5th tier league to being one of the best teams, because once you start getting the taste of that money and it's equal, you have a chance to compete. I love this model. I pray that they do this model.
I love the idea if that's where we're headed, because we know we're not. The status quo is not going to be where things are at, and so remember the Power 5 schools, the major programs would all still be protected though. So I know you're talking about relegation. The relegation is still only involving the second.
Vanderbilt will always be up there.
Yeah.
No matter
So
whether they go 2-10 every year or whatever.
I know you were giving the example of like KU or anybody that has 4 bad years or 1 bad year. They wouldn't be relegated.
KU's protected, you're saying.
Yeah. Under this model, the top 70 programs plus Notre Dame and SMU would be permanent members. So that you basically have 10 spots that are up for grabs every year.
But it still opens up the door to others.
Oh, it does. I like it, but I'm just saying that.
Yeah, Kansas is protected in this situation.
Or anybody,
or Rutgers,
whoever.
whatever.
But there are 10 spots essentially that would be available every year to go up and down, which I think would be terrific.
Did you look at the divisions?
What did I say it was? It was going to be 7 10-team divisions.
Well, I know, but did
I did
you
not. I didn't care about who was in what division. No, because to me that's something that'll change 100 times by the time it actually happens.
Did they get back to? Did they try to bring rivalries back? Ideally,
well, yes, but
I mean that's what you'd ask for in this situation.
But
they would also save rivalries in this, and Kansas and Missouri be in the same division.
This would see the return of the Southwest Conference and the Big East.
Fine. Again, rivalries are what make college sports great. If they're all making the same amount of money, they don't have to worry about marrying up in conferences that don't make any damn sense, where UCLA has to take on Rutgers in December. Like, no, we don't have to do that nonsense anymore. We're all making the same money, which means we got to play the teams we'd rather play.
I'm interested, though, because there's no Big 12 in this picture at all. It's called the Frequent Flyer Division. Mizzou, Kansas State, Kansas, Utah, Iowa State, Northwestern, UCF, Nebraska, BYU, and Colorado are in a division together.
Well, yeah, there are no conferences anyway. Remember, that's the whole point of this is be a super league. There would be no conferences.
So that's part of my problem with this, part of it. Because when you're seeding, the conference, essentially in this model, the conference championships don't exist anymore.
I don't care.
They're
the sport
done.
Matters more. Do the conference championships really matter now? They do currently, but are they going to? Their updated model, they just said they want automatic qualifiers for the SEC. They want like 19 schools.
They will because
and everyone else
home
gets
field.
one, so they don't matter.
They will because of the home field and the bye. Otherwise, you're getting essentially in this model. I would guess that I don't know if you get rid of the bye, but I would be really intrigued to see if you're in a weaker division. Like what categorize or do we get rid of rankings? Because I would say the rankings go away.
Well, it'd be a league. Remember, again, this would be. Think about it like the NFL. It'd be a league. There would be no rankings because it would be a league. Like I'm guessing that the top 2 in each division would advance to whatever.
Which is where.
So yeah, the rankings. You're right. There would be no rankings.
That's where if I was in the SEC, I would be really pissed off about this because
the only SEC and the Big Ten are the people you actually have to get on board.
I would not be happy with it. And of course, again, those are the 2 conferences that are right now. Are creating a system for everybody to be involved. Where if I'm Tennessee, I am livid at this situation because I might not even be in. I might, and it's going to come back to the exact same thing every single year. If Tennessee goes 8-4 and they finish 5th in their division, they're not making the playoffs.
Right. Sorry.
Right, well, yeah, it's a league.
No
it's not a.
Do I feel bad for anybody who finishes 8-5 and 4th in their division? That's the same as the NCAA tournament.
If you have a team that
finishes 69, I don't care.
Okay, say you have 4 teams.
Right.
3-4 finish 10-2, and you finish 10-2, and a team that's 9-3 wins their division.
That happens in leagues all the time.
I know, but
10-6, 11-5 teams miss the playoffs.
But
sometimes in the NFL, I don't care.
But I don't think you should. It's not college football anymore. That's the problem that people have with it.
True, but
it's already moving away from that. Is my argument.
We've talked about this a ton, and I hear like again. I wish we could flip a switch and go back to like 2005.
And we could talk about BCS rankings,
and there wouldn't be realignment or anything. But I think we all recognize where college football is heading in a direction where you're either going to have something like this Super League, which I think is a great idea, or you're going to have it where just the Big Ten and the SEC expand, and we have 50 teams that are part of the Big Ten and SEC, and they're doing their own little conference thing, and then there's everybody else figuring it out, or something like this, which technically still does involve 130 schools, and it allows them to do it. And for those saying like, well, the Big Ten and SEC have to be on board. They do, but if you believe the quotes in the article from The Athletic where they don't think the current model is sustainable financially, that's how you get the Big Ten and SEC on board.
They're saying NIL won't work forever. We'll just get them a solid paycheck and move on, right?
Well, this is the thing, is that when you have them with paychecks, these kids can't leave the school that they're in. That, I think, has to be a precursor to it. Like, when you sign a contract, it's got to be for at least 2 years. That's where the whole Pandora's box is going to open all the way up again, because you're going to have guys that go from.
Well, yeah, if I get relegated, I don't want to play at that this year. It happens in the English Premier League.
I know, but if they're signed to a contract, they're screwed. So I think that at that point, that's where, and if it's not open season as much, but if you sign to a school, you're stuck at that school regardless of where you're at. If you sign to LSU because the coach lies to you and says, yeah, man, you're going to get plenty of PT and you barely even see the field and you want to leave, tough stuff because you're stuck. I think that's a problem that we're going to see as well in terms of them being college students as well as athletes. I think that separation, you have to have the separation now where if you sign a contract, you're stuck.
Too late, man. It's already a pro sport. There's too many dollars. It can't be both. It can't both be like $1 trillion industry and be like amateurs and college.
I agree.
It's the minor leagues, and you happen to go to school.
But they can't be college students anymore, or college. No. They can't be in that category either, which is where.
Well, why can't they be college? Why can't they be college students though? We can stop with the student athlete part, sure, but why can't they be? They're college students that have who have a job. Have a job. I mean,
some guy who works at the car dealership being a porter, doesn't matter. He gets paid. It's a job.
Well, yeah, I mean, they can still go to school. Why couldn't they go to school?
I worked the entire time I went to school.
No, I worked as well, but I think it's different when you're looking at the college athlete perspective and all of the money that is going to be in the sport and the way that it's going to be categorized compared to the rest of the.
The real question,
I don't.
Will be the Title IX stuff. That's, I think, the big. That might actually be the biggest.
If you're stuck
obstacle.
there, I don't.
Sure.
And I don't know if that applies once it becomes professional. Got to funnel
some of the money down. Same thing.
Once it becomes professional, then I don't know if Title IX applies.
Well, I also think that they're given the fact that if they separate themselves in one sport, particularly like the NCAA is still going to exist. It's not going to oversee football anymore.
It's going to be toothless.
It's not going to oversee college football. It is going to be.
The second they realize how much money they can make not overseeing college football, they'll stop letting them oversee the tournament too. Like, the NCAA is kind of a useless organization. They can hide behind whatever. They do a lot more harm for the sport than they do good.
I think it harms the team. Nick Saban said it plenty of times. The rich are going to get richer, I think, in this aspect where if a kid goes to a school and they're stuck, then the likelihood of a school like Rutgers getting better is very, very, very slim. They will always be at the bottom because they're not going to be able to go and get guys from the portal.
Just make it a one-time transfer thing. It doesn't matter. There's a way to roadblock the system without making it a free.
So in the contracts, there would have to be something written into the That's where I think it gets really complicated. If we're saying, hey, you're signing to this school, but you're not actually signing to the school because you're able to transfer once. And if you transfer once, it's okay because this school has to take on your contract. That's where it becomes a complete mess, I think.
From the 816, you can't work as a student athlete, especially football. You're way too busy. You wouldn't know that as an analyst. None of us are saying that the football player needs to get another job.
Agreed.
The point is that
football is his job.
Is the job. Yeah, we're all on the same page there. Like, yeah, I don't know if that was confusing.
I worked at a bar. He gets to play football. His job pays better, but that's his job.
Yeah, the car dealership analogy was meaning that if someone is just a regular old student at KU or K-State or Missouri, and they want a separate job at the car dealership or the bar down the street, they can do that, and they can also be a student. So there's no reason, like Drew was saying, that they can't, can they be a student while also being in this professional league? And we're saying, yes, why wouldn't they be able to?
They do it now. Like, it's not different. The amount of, commitment they'd have to make to football would be that. They would just have a stable salary. I don't see how that's a bad thing for a sport that takes all this money.
Well, if they have a college football players union, I would try to navigate my way into saying it's professional sports. I'm not going to school because it's professional sports. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
That is easily an argument that comes up because I spend.
Yeah, but they're never going to hide behind that. The schools is what makes the money. Does that make sense? People are committed to the brands because of the school thing established to it. They wouldn't just go watch the semi-professional Georgia Bulldogs.
Correct.
They cheer for them, and people cheer for them because the school part.
Correct.
The school part's still important.
The atmosphere,
to the business,
the fan base.
That's still important because people don't go watch the AAF or whatever is much, or what's the new one called?
UFL or something.
Well, they're still associated with the school, but I think that if you're a player, if I'm working 40 hours a week, 7 days a week, for 365 days to be the best college football player I can be, and you're paying me this much, why do I have to go to school when I'm getting paid as much as I am and I'm making this money?
Because we tell you have to. That's part of your job. One of your job responsibilities. We all have jobs, Drew. You have 10 job responsibilities. One of their job responsibilities as part of this is to go to class.
I know, but
if they pay me that, I'd go.
If there's a players union, they are going to say, I think one of the conversations that I would have is, I'm not going to class because you're not paying me to go to class. You're paying me to play football. I think that's where.
I think a lot of people do that already anyway.
Oh, I know, but now they can enforce it because the NCAA is there and the student athlete part is still there. As soon as the student athlete part goes away, I think there's a legitimate case where you can say, I'm not coming to this school unless I'm not playing.
I don't think the interest would be there from the television partners and from the average football fan. If I all of a sudden, whether we want to use Georgia, KU, K-State, or Missouri, doesn't really matter as the example. But basically, right now, KU doesn't have a hockey team. They have a club hockey team.
Yeah, sure.
Missouri doesn't have a hockey team. Yes. They have a club hockey team. If all of a sudden KU, MU, and K-State just had a club football team in this new formula, I'll be honest, my interest level is not going to really be there.
Way down.
That's what it would be. It'd be no different. It'd be like having a club team. That's all it would be. Then I'll watch the NFL if I want that. I won't. The college football is fun because you got the band and the tradition and the mascots and you've got rivalries and you've got all that. Mm-hmm. If you're saying that somehow you're basically, it wouldn't be tied to the schools though anymore, Drew.
If you just do this model, this super league in which these teams, then you can go back to regionalizing the sport. To me, it's objectively good. The money's already going where the money's already going, and in this model, at the very least, you allow some of the little guys to maybe get in a piece of the pie if they win and are committed to winning. And you get Missouri versus Kansas, USC, you get rivalries back, hypothetically.
Someone brought up a good point. Because also this job won't be there for most of them after 4 years. So if you're the player on the team, you're the player on the team, there's also some of them. I know it sounds crazy. They actually might want the free ride for the education.
Won't be pros. They'll be going pro in something else.
I think this is the best idea out of all the bad ideas that they've had. But the devil's advocate part of me is saying, while it is still college football in the tradition aspect, they're taking away from everything else that's ever been college football before, which is the rankings, which is the every single week matters, which is the the conference championship stuff. Which
I would just argue that's already happened. I mean, no matter what, that's
going
to happen.
I know, but it's still there. The rankings are still there. Every game matters is still there. The conference championship games are still there. The rivalries are still, if you look, the rivalries are still there. I don't think people love the Southwest Conference going back to 1990.
We just went through another realignment. Are they still there?
I would rather have the
they're still there.
I would rather have the Super League format than wake up in 7 years and the Big Ten and SEC each have 30 schools in their conference. Or 25 in their conference, and those are the only two people that are actually competing for a championship that we really count.
This is what it is, but
no,
there's
different because technically 130 schools can theoretically compete for it.
I know, but isn't this to me is the Big Ten and the SEC are running the show, but they're giving out a portion of everything to we're going to keep the Pac-10 alive.
That's the system.
Here's a portion of it, but it's still 60 to 7. It's still the exact same thing. It's just divided differently.
No, the only way to be the same. The only way to be the
best
same
teams
is
in the country that are always locked in, and instead of them being in the Big Ten and the SEC, they're in 8 different divisions. It's the same thing to me.
It's the reason why I think it's a little bit different is in the divisional model. If I win my division, whether I'm not attached to a conference. So right now they're trying to make the college football playoff to where 4 of the 14 spots are guaranteed for the Big Ten, let's say. Under the Super League, there would be no guaranteed spot. You win your damn division, you finish as the wild card in your division. Those are the teams that get in. That's what it is. It's not hey, we're in the Big Ten, so we get 6 of the 20 spots, or SEC, we get 5 of the 20 spots. That's why I like this model, because the other way is where we're headed.
But in the end, it's still the same teams. I think that's what I'm like. When you separate the teams, it looks better, but it's the exact same thing.
Well, sure, they're always going to be more likely. They're the better programs.
I don't know. It's the same
it's not
thing.
just giving them a spot.
It just looks a little bit different to me.
We'll see if this even ends up happening, but it's
it is the best option out of all the stuff that they've said, though.
It's definitely interesting to take a look at. All right, coming up next, guys, we'll get to what's trending. We'll get back into the all-in move down in Houston.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
There is a back-to-back Super Bowl champion, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
On your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Another year, another Super Bowl. Did you know that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in their first year of their partnership with Window World? And here we are, 5 years in. The Chiefs are a dynasty, and they're still going strong with Window World as the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. Window World windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, ranked number 1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. In just over 20 years of business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency of over 54,000 customers right here in Kansas City. So be sure to call this number, 816-799-0820. Learn more about the double-strength glass that gives a strength that's not commonly used in replacement windows. Learn more about their products that are not only durable, but offer security, beauty, and energy efficiency. Give my friends at Window World a call. That's 816-799-0820. 816-799-0820 to learn more, or also go on the website, windowworld.com.
It's that time of year. Fire up the grill and get your backyard groove on. It's Hy-Vee's good old-fashioned meat sale. Save big with rolled back prices on springtime favorites like Casey strips, boneless chicken breasts, special recipe brats, and top loin pork chops. Purchase a spring grilling bundle to earn $1 per gallon discount with your Fuel Saver card. These crazy low prices will get you in the groove. Hustle in for big savings at the good old-fashioned meat sale this Friday through Sunday at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Hey, it's Kling. Do you have an upcoming graduate in your life? There's a lot of things on that plate. Just trying to figure out what's next, who to invite to the party. I'm going to take one thing, though, off this plate. It is the graduation catering. Leave that to my friends from Hy-Vee. Not sure what to get? Well, here's a perfect idea for you. Don't miss Hy-Vee's graduation party open house. It's Saturday, April 6th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all the amazing graduation day options or just get a little inspiration. Graduation season or any season, I got your place. It's only at Hy-Vee.
Erectile dysfunction affects many men in America today, but it's not just the man who's affected. It's also often their partner. But successful treatment of ED can truly bring relationships back to life. This is Jeff, the CEO of Promenic Restorative Men's Health, and that's why I'm pleased to announce the opening of our second location of Heartland Men's Health right here in Independence, Missouri. As a Promenic affiliate, Heartland Men's Health is a part of a group that has successfully treated tens of thousands of men over the last decade with treatments that are shown in medical studies to be effective in well over 90% of men. And unlike wave therapy groups or online pill sellers, we offer a variety of treatments to help you get the results you want. You could even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com.
DQ presents the sound of BOGO-free Blizzard treats in the DQ app. It's the sound of downloading the DQ app, redeeming the sweetest BOGO-free Blizzard deal, telling all your friends, and heading to DQ. For BOGO-free any size Blizzard treats only in the DQ app for a limited time. Download it today. At participating locations, limitations apply. DQ. Happy tastes good.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through April 23rd, get a $15 gift card when you buy 5 or more quarts of Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic, only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, Royals in action again tonight. They return home after a quick series against the Orioles. Obviously, we talked earlier to Vern about this Royals bullpen right now. A disappointing 2-4 start despite so many things actually that have gone well with the starting rotation. We'll try to keep that part going at least. Seth Lugo on the bump. He did not give up a single run in his first outing. They take on the White Sox.
Most Royal starters.
6:40 first pitch right here on 610 Sports Radio. Yeah, no, the starting pitching has been stellar.
Just need that bullpen to catch up. Royals, hey, having a clean sweep. 4-game sweep, a rarity in Major League Baseball. How about one of those tonight? That made me feel good. Next up on What's Trending, NFL Network reportedly is considering selling off its assets to ESPN. That was after a string of layoffs announced at their station today. James Palmer, probably the most notable. Andrew Siciliano, Will Selva, and
Melissa Stark, right?
Oh, Melissa Stark. The 4 big names that NFL Network reportedly let go of today. That same article, The Athletic, though, did say that they're considering just selling us. You got to remember, they just changed what they're going to do with Good Morning Football as well, and it's all going to be in L.A., and it all looks different. So NFL Network clearly going through some changes.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre to see. But as you said, there's a lot of rumors about mergers or being bought by ESPN or otherwise for NFL Network. Next up on What's Trending, Carson Wentz officially signed with the Chiefs today. He was in Kansas City very briefly, did speak to the media. He, of course, is the backup now in Kansas City moving forward. Another veteran that the Chiefs will have backing up Patrick Mahomes. And it sounds like Blaine Gabbert might be retiring or something like that. That might have been why they moved in a different direction. Although reports indicated the Chiefs were interested in Carson Wentz a year ago, and now it came together for him. And the Chiefs' Twitter account put out a very important tweet that Cody's a huge fan of earlier today as Carson Wentz was at the team facility. And their tweet was, "It's Thursday, but it feels like Wednesday."
I hate it. I just hate it so much. Next up on What's Trending, the Oakland Athletics finally have a landing spot for the next few years at least, announcing today that they will head to 3 years to the state capital of Sacramento. Maybe an option for a 4th year as well to stay there. Oakland doesn't want them anymore. They have not fully solved their Las Vegas stadium needs, although I think that hotel is scheduled to get torn down today. But they still actually need some approvals to go through. But regardless of what happens there, they're going to spend the next 3 years, it appears, in Sacramento. So the Sacramento A's of Las Vegas, or whatever the hell they are at this point, they're a complete amalgamation. Their ownership, I think ownership sometimes stinks across a couple of different leagues, and I think some people were frustrated with ownership here because of the stadium stuff and the vote that took place on Tuesday. Pray every night to the gods that your owner is not the A's owner, John Fisher, because he stinks. He is the worst owner, and maybe all. We talked about this once like Dan Gilbert got out of the game. He might be the worst owner, or not Dan Gilbert.
Snyder.
Dan Gilbert, also a terrible owner. Dan Snyder got out of the game. Honestly, he's one of the worst owners in all sports.
Lastly, on what's trending, the NFL draft coming up later on this month. We hope to see you guys at the Landing in Liberty on Thursday, April 25th. And it's all brought to you by Hy-Vee, the proud official grocery sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to be hanging out there, the entire 610 crew, plus the Character Concerns crew. That's Christian Osero, Jay Binkley will be doing their broadcast live during the first round. And you got a chance to win $610 plus some autographed Chiefs memorabilia or merchandise. And how do you do that? It's pretty simple. You go to 610sports.com right now. Under the contest tab, there's a form you fill out, and basically you pick the draft. Who's going where and who's going to the first round. You get different points for that. And if you obviously finish first, you're going to get hooked up with $610. You do have to bring that sheet on Thursday, April 25th to the Landing. I believe they'll have some there as well. But that's how it's going to work. Pretty straightforward. Going to hang out, watch the draft with all of us at 610.
The appeal of printing it out is you can fill it out ahead of time, do a little extra research, but you're welcome to just roll in and just take care of it that way.
That is what's trending. We also could go to Dallas for a second. Drew has got the feed down in Dallas as Royce West, the attorney representing Rashee Rice, is addressing the media.
No attention. I want to say on behalf of Mr. Rice that he has fully cooperated with the Dallas Police Department. Every question that was asked of him, he responded to the Dallas Police Department. And we will continue to cooperate with them in terms of this particular accident. What I really wanted to mention today and bring to the attention of the community is, number one, this is my law partner, Craig Capua, C-A-P-U-A. We've been together now for what, 20-something, 29
years?
29 years. In terms of the persons involved in this accident. Mr. Rice wants to make certain that it's understood and appreciated that he's going to do everything in his power to bring their life back to as normal as possible in terms of injuries, in terms of property damages. He'll make certain that he is responsible for helping them to get through that particular part of this. Now, don't get us wrong. We understand that no one can ever bring back to a person who has been in an accident help them get over the memories of being in that accident. But the fact is that we're going to do everything within our power to do so. Now, where do we go from here? Because that's kind of been the question. We'll continue to work with the Dallas Police Department as it relates to answering questions that we can. And depending upon what they do, obviously, it'll go to the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, and we'll work through them also. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
Who was driving?
Thank you for asking that. Thank you for asking that question. During the interview, Mr. Rice acknowledged that he was driving the Lamborghini. That was the question that was asked, and he responded to that he was driving the Lamborghini.
Mr. West, where is he right now, and why is he not here speaking for himself and making those apologies?
Well, let me say this. In terms of him speaking, he will speak. But again, some of the vitriol that's been going on in the media, which we can understand because that's how it works. The fact is you got a 23-year-old young man that's never been in this type of situation before. And so you will get an opportunity to hear from him, hopefully within the next week.
Why did it take so long for you guys to talk? Because like Saturday.
You think that's long? Well, as a lawyer, some 40 years, recognizing that there's some criminal overtones. Number one, he had to get counsel, and then secondly, counsel had to get some sort of idea of what was going on. If you talk with the police department, they will tell you that we as his counsel, reached out to them on Sunday evening. So that's not long at all. And they will also tell you that we've had 2 meetings. So that's not long at all.
Senator West, can you explain, help us understand why this group of men left the scene after the accident happened?
it's a good question that's still being investigated, and I can't go into the particulars now, but we will. All the insight I can give you now is that there's a continuing investigation, and we're working with them on that.
So what happens next?
What happens next is, number one, we continue to work with the Dallas Police Department, answering questions that they have. Secondly, we work with the victims to make certain that we deal with their issues, be it bodily injury or property damage. We work with them on that.
Have you reached out to them as yet?
Yes, we have. We've reached out to the representatives, and we continue to reach out to the representatives. In fact, the reality is, as soon as we leave here, Craig's going to be reaching out to some of the. We now know a couple of the other attorneys. We're going to be reaching out to some of the other attorneys. Number one, to find out how their clients are doing. I mean, you've reported in the news that there wasn't serious bodily injury associated with this, but we don't know that to be a fact. And so, to the extent that we can kind of make certain that we understand the seriousness of the injuries, that helps out. But importantly, we've got to talk to their representatives and hopefully talk to them eventually. I'm sorry, I could barely understand you.
Can you just give us a little insight about his timeline that day and how his account of it, so we can just clear the air on that?
Well, not right now because it's a part of the continuing investigation. But ultimately you'll be able to get that. All right. And just let me say to you, and many of you know, we've been here before. We're going to make certain that we're as transparent as we can and balancing out his constitutional rights, depending upon what happens with this particular case, and also making certain that we take care of the victim's rights. So I can't do that right now. We've got to see exactly how this investigation proceeds. Hold on for 1 second. Yes. I'm sorry.
DPD has told us that there are charges coming. They just haven't specified what charges. Have they communicated that before?
Yes.
Now, Attorney West, you have referenced the vitriol in the media. Is there anything you can add to this conversation today to make this community not think that this was a spoiled, entitled, rich athlete, thinking cavalier with the lives of other people on that freeway?
Let me say this. You called him spoiled, entitled. I mean, but hold on for a second. Hold on a second. Why don't you do a story of who he is as opposed to what occurred? Because it seems as though what you're saying is based on this one incident, you're going to define him based on this incident as opposed to his entire body of work. I would say to each and every one of you, if all of us had to be defined by one incident, then that would be ridiculous as opposed to our entire body of work. So I'd ask that you, as the media, look at his entire body of work before saying exactly who he is. That would be a better, I think, representation of his body, of who he is. In part, yes, because you're defining him based on this one incident as in terms of, as opposed to exactly his entire life. And obviously, you can look at that. He played football at SMU. He's from North Texas. And so we in North Texas, specifically the media, has a great opportunity to make sure the world knows who he is. Is he a thug? Has been going around committing murders, rapes, robberies, and things like this? Or is he a young man that found himself in this situation and now needs to figure out exactly how he can balance, number one, taking care of the issues associated with the persons that were injured, and also making certain that his whole life is not just turned topsy-turvy, and he has no future.
Consider, in terms of communications with Kansas City Chiefs and that organization, is it your position and Mr. Royce's position that they have the Chiefs' support in all this?
I have not spoken with the Chiefs at all. My main focus right now, over this last few days has been to, number one, understand as best possible the facts, and I still don't have all of the facts, okay, and make certain that the police department understood that Rasheed was not running from anybody, trying to hide from anyone, but wanted to cooperate, which we've done. We've answered the questions that were asked of us, and then make certain also that we prioritize visiting with the families or representatives of the families that were involved in this accident. That's been our priorities.
Senator, there's been some reports that there were certain items found in the vehicles, including some paraphernalia for like his NFL team, cleats, a playbook, I think a check. But there was also reports that there was marijuana found in at least one of the vehicles. Can you help us understand who that belonged to?
Number one, the only time I've heard about that is on television, okay, on the news. So I hadn't confirmed that at all.
Your client hasn't shared any of that?
I have not confirmed that at all.
And you guys haven't seen the police report, that's where we found it.
Oh, you have the police report? Well,
Yeah, we have copies of the police report.
well, as of yesterday, they told us that no police report had been filed. Okay, so what you're telling me is that when the detectives told us yesterday that there's no police report that's been filed, that wasn't correct. A police report has been filed. And so again, all right, we want to be very transparent and work very closely with the police department and make certain that representations that we make are accurate representations. And as of yesterday, we were told that there was no police report filed. So we now need to get a copy of that police report.
And then obviously the public, as they're watching this play out, and we alluded to this earlier, why did he drive it? You're saying, he was put in a situation, but in that situation, he still didn't think that people hurt, cars were
Again,
damaged.
hold your judgment. Let the facts come out. Just like you just told me a second ago, a representation was made to me yesterday that appears to be not true.
But the fact that he walked away from the crash without checking on anyone else.
Again, allow the investigation to kind of move forward, and then you'll understand more and more what's going on.
Have you seen the video?
Yes.
And what do you think of it?
I think that you've got to allow the investigation. I'm going to say this over and over again. Y'all can ask me as much as you want to. Okay? The investigation is not complete. All right? You've got to allow that investigation to be completed before drawing attention. I understand what you've got to do as a media. You do what you have to do. But just because you continue to ask me those questions, I'm not going to give you any other answer than what I just gave you. Again, our priority right now is making sure those persons involved in that accident are taken care of.
Can you talk a little bit about what that would look like making sure that there's police treatment for what steps you guys take?
Here's the deal. First of all, I've got to make certain I contact their representatives to assess what the level of injury is and what they think is necessary in order to address their needs.
Have they given you any indication?
No, again, no, to answer your question. Because again, our whole focus as of yesterday morning was to make certain we get with the Dallas Police Department and provide them answers to questions and gauge their level of cooperation with us. And apparently, there's a police report that's already been filed. When was it filed? Do you know? You got it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Okay. See, I was told the police report had not been filed, and that was as of yesterday. And so we've got to be upfront and honest with them, but we've got to depend upon them to do the same thing with us. And I find that very disturbing that if that is in fact the case, that it was a misrepresentation made to me.
All right, so that is Royce West, the attorney representing Rasheed Rice in the accident down in Dallas last Saturday. And he did confirm that, one, Rasheed Rice is fully cooperating and has spoken, I think he said twice now, with the Dallas Police Department, but did the big thing there acknowledge that his client, Rashee Rice, was driving that Lamborghini when it crashed last Saturday. That was one of the missing pieces from the minute the first report came out about this accident was, all right, who was driving what vehicle, and was Rashee Rice driving either? And now we know, and he has told Dallas Police Department that he was driving the Lamborghini, which, remember, he was renting. It was under his name. The other vehicle was a Corvette that was also in his name. And multiple times the attorney, Royce West, was asked, basically, why did your client leave the scene then?
And he's just saying, let the investigation take place, and then maybe it'll make sense.
And so the last part, the back and forth, there was clearly some reporter that must have either done a story or something that mentioned being entitled or being an athlete or something. And obviously the attorney representing Rashee Rice did not like that. And so that's why, if you're wondering, the audio, I know was tough to hear the questions. That was some of the back and forth for a little bit in that. Also, the whole police report thing, I'm not sure what that's all about.
I guess we can go look for it later.
Yeah, it sounds like that there was maybe one outlet that claims they have a copy of the police report, and then you had the attorney representing Rashee Rice saying they were told the police report was not even filed
she
yet.
was claiming that playbook and cleats and marijuana were all found in or around the vehicle during that police report, so that becomes interesting, I guess, to follow as
I just find it hard to believe that, how would the attorney not have the police report, but the member of the media has the police report that was filed? That seems something's
I don't know.
Something's
I'll
weird
say
there,
this, he was a lot more composed than this.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look,
there's
with all due respect to that clip you played there, there's a clear difference in, dare I say, how one attorney is handling a process. Now, also completely different circumstances. One, there's an investigation still ongoing. Remember, Rashee Rice, there are no charges filed against Rashee Rice. Now, there was one point where a member of the media said, did the police department give you a timeline of when charges could be brought? He gave a simple one-word answer. Yes. We don't know what that timeline is. There's obviously going to be charges. We just don't know what they are going to be and when. The quote from West was, hold the judgment, let the facts come out. He was asked if he saw that dash cam that we all saw.
Yeah.
The investigation is not complete, and he says you'll understand more and more. Obviously, there's no reason for him to answer any questions.
He's not going to give away details of an ongoing police investigation.
Yeah, the big part is,
that he admitted that he was driving the Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that crashed and caused a crash. And then he mentioned multiple times that...
And was obviously driving incredibly recklessly based on the video.
And that they are... going to continue to reach out and talk to representatives of the victims here. And what was the exact phrasing he used at the beginning of that? Again, that was much longer than we thought it was going to be. Talking about the victims.
That he was going to take care of them and that he wanted to make sure that everyone felt safe. I think he was making it pretty clear that he has been trying to reach the representation of the people who are the victims in this accident to make sure that they can take care of, probably we've talked about, Gold, the civil liability that could come from an accident like this, so that they could, put that part behind them before they handle the probable, very legal parts of this that will involve the Dallas Police Department. I think that was his way of imploring those parties to come forward so that they can handle that end of their business. He also said he hadn't talked to the Chiefs, which I don't expect his lawyer to talk to the Chiefs. That's Rashee Rice's job.
No reason to do that this time or anything, yeah.
No. I don't know why you'd bring a lawyer to that conversation, the one with the Chiefs.
People were asking.
I'm not going to lie.
People were asking about the timeline because we know it was a couple days, and his attorney said that I think it was Sunday night is when he first reached out and had representation, and they reached out to the police the next day. So there was, for whatever reason, there was
he was running from the police. Something you and I kind of refuted that.
We'll see. I mean, it's obviously a huge development now, though, that we now know for sure that Rashee Rice was driving the Lamborghini, according to his attorney. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. We're obviously back at it tomorrow from 10 to 2 right here on 610 Sports Radio. Up next, we hand things off to C-Dot and Rob on The Drive.